children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
He will take action. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump threatening a federal response to end a demonstration that's taken over about 6 blocks in Seattle.
President Trump says if Washington's governor or Seattle's mayor won't break up a demonstration called the Capitol Hill Organized Protest in downtown Seattle, he will.
I've already spoken to the Attorney General about it, but if they don't do the job, we will do the job.
What can you do?
About 10 different things. Any one of which will solve the problem quickly.
The president offered no details about a potential response or timing, but told reporters he is watching the situation closely and urged the governor to deploy the National Guard. Demonstrators occupying the neighborhood are calling for an overhaul of the city's police department. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The Justice Department has set new dates to begin executing federal death row inmates. Attorney General William Barr directing the executions of 4 inmates convicted of killing children for July. Those close to an African-American man killed during a scuffle with police at an Atlanta drive-through Friday night want answered. Rayshard Brooks was shot in the back after running from police after grabbing an officer's taser.
Family members held a very emotional news conference. In part of it, they called on protesters to remain peaceful in their efforts to bring about social change.
If we stand together and united as one, there will be no more cases similar to Rayshard's. How many more protests will it take?
Today, the NAACP organized a peaceful march through downtown Atlanta to the state capitol. Demonstrators called for equal justice, something District Attorney Paul Howard says he's mindful of as he continues to investigate the case.
Fox's Jonathan Serry in Atlanta. One of the 2 officers involved was fired, the other placed on administrative duty. America's listening to Fox News.
The last few months of this is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Astronauts to the moon.
Ten, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show, and we're in a snow globe, and we just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jeranism Monday Night Raw, your current reigning, defending, and unarguably, without any question, the #1 show on Truth Frequency Radio on every Monday night from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 to 11 Eastern. I am your socially distant host, Jeran from Jeranism, providing a podcast for you that has contactless delivery. Anyway, my co-host from across the plane, who proves once and for all that truly flat lives do matter, David Weiss.
That is racist. Racist. You're not allowed to say that.
Oh.
The Zoomers get very upset when you say anything other than Black Lives Matter.
I'm so sorry. What's going to happen to me in this cancel culture? Am I done? Is my podcast over?
You will just be looked at as an out-of-touch, racist homophobe. Bigot homophobe.
The white privilege is just oozing off.
Yes.
As we speak. All right, speaking of white privilege, we also have 2 co-hosts joining us. Both of them extremely white privileged. One of them, Jason Lingren. Jason from Crow 777 and Secrets of Saturn. How are you, my friend?
Coming to you from at least 6 feet away or more, I'm awesome. How are you?
Thank goodness. I'm so happy. I wouldn't listen to this podcast otherwise.
Yeah.
Only way I'll do any business with any company if they provide contactless delivery and are there for me during these challenging times.
We are indeed, unlike Joe Biden, a contactless podcast.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. We didn't even set that up. That's great.
Hey, I will do any voice bite and any voice I can mimic too, if you would ever like. Anytime you want.
Anytime you want. You can feel free to drop it like it's hot. Speaking of hot, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I'm going to get in trouble.
That is sexist and racist.
Oh, Jeran's just all sorts of evil today.
I'm so evil today. We have saving the best for last, Rose 777. Rose, how are you?
Hello, Jeran. Hello, everybody. I'm doing great.
I apologize for my sexist behavior.
And you know how serious they are about contactless podcasting is they are in separate rooms, even though they are in the same house.
They're really
true. That's actually very true.
Because Jason's an audio snob, not because
and so he put you in the echoless, undecorated room chamber.
Hey, we're getting there. It's going to be so good.
Or it would be if you had some sort of white or clear plastic sheet in between you both, and you were in the same room.
That would be very sad.
Don't we still have to be 6 feet or more apart from each other, though?
Absolutely, but
not if there's a plastic shower curtain between you. That stops the virus. Or if you're protesting, if you're protesting against Black Lives or for Black Lives Matter, then the virus is powerless.
Yes, that's very true.
I'm a fan of Cthulhu, where no lives matter.
Wait, but Jeran, I would have you know that I recently did an episode on Rose 777 on comedy, and we definitely did discuss comedy involving women, and I would encourage everyone to watch it because it's a topic I truly care about. Fighting for your right to try to be funny, even if you fail, because failing is enough punishment in itself.
Right. No, I think you should be able to try. Definitely. Why not? Everybody should be able to go for it. Unless, of course, you're talking about, there's this landmark case today, the, LGBTQ, AI, all the different, they all celebrate today because they are no longer allowed to be discriminated against, which is great for, religious schools, right? If you're
Does that mean the police can also be brutal to them as well?
Yes, everybody gets the same treatment. So if you're a trans,
somebody gets beat over the head or choked or stabbed or tased or don't tase them, bro. Nope, you get tased too. You get equal.
You can't even say bro. That's the improper pronoun. So you can't say what they're. Maybe they don't assign a gender to them. So saying bro probably will get you in trouble. But it's just crazy now. If you imagine, you can apply for a job at a Catholic school as a transgender teacher, and they cannot say no to you. Well, they could try, but they could be fined. I don't know. The world is going crazy. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, now all of a sudden, and I know this is going to start happening, but men who are transitioning or who say they're transitioning, can they play female sports and shatter all the records? I mean, could Usain Bolt tell everybody he's going to transition to a woman, go over and race the Olympics as a transitioning man to woman, and just obliterate every female? Nothing against women.
No, the main thing about sports is that sports involve your physical ability, and men and women have a different makeup, like different bodies. So it really, you can't. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's so laughable. But I think that back to what you were saying, Jason, just to point out, because I just know that there's people that are thinking about the fact that there is like a lot of police brutality already towards trans people. I saw it once on the street openly, and it wasn't just the fact that it was happening. It was the fact that it was happening in daylight right in front of me, and it's seriously, I couldn't believe that it was like a Hollywood movie. But I just felt the urge to mention that there's already so much discrimination against trans people. But with that being said, we still should be able to make jokes about them.
Well, I don't know if I'm making jokes about them, but I do think the one thing where I have to draw...
We should be able to make jokes about everybody. But I'm just saying that there's no shortage of police brutality in the trans community.
No, I have big problems when it comes to people using restrooms, of course. That's one thing. I don't think any woman would feel comfortable in a locker room with there's a guy with his junk hanging out, and they're like, well, sorry, I don't classify myself as a male, so I classify myself as a woman, so I'm here in this. That's a little bit much to me. And the sports thing, it may not be being seen now, but like you said, whether people want to realize it or not, and they say, oh, well, girls can do anything they want. Yeah, girls can do anything they want, and they should try and all that stuff. But when it comes to some sports, because the male physique is, or, strength is different, they're going to get killed. Meaning that, there's no girl that's going to outrun a guy. At least not now. Not going to high jump a guy. So any guy can just say, hey, I'm a transitioner, become a female, or say they're becoming a female, and obliterate all college records and hold all the records. And I think that's ridiculous. So
South Park did an episode or two on that within the past year, and they had the character be a mock of Randy Macho Savage from the old WWF.
Oh yeah, Randy Macho.
Ooh, he's like, ooh yeah, I'm a woman. I'm number one.
Yeah, absolutely. Macho Man Savage could demolish some female records in college, whether people want to admit it or not. The world's just gone crazy. That's all I know. But where it hasn't gone crazy yet is the 6-block Seattle zone, the Chaz or the Chop or whatever you want to call it. Oh, the Antifa.
Is that a totally contrived thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they've totally they totally let him have it. They just say, here.
Well, did they let him have it, or are they controlling it like we have it, or they have it, or whoever they are? I think it's completely contrived, and it's run by the elite.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
There's some zone where just people are just running it, and there's all greatness. And so Nicholas Brown sent a super chat that says, black budgets don't matter. Yeah, no, I know. It's just crazy. Dave, I did watch the Richard murder. Was that his name? Rashawn? I don't know. Whichever one happened, with the outcome was the burning down of a Wendy's, which makes a lot of sense. And looks pretty real.
I was listening to Jason Goodman and Oli Damagard, and they said it also. I mean, I didn't see it. I didn't actually hear about it until today. And they're like, it looks real. Things like this do happen, but the elite will take anything, planned or unplanned, and make the best use of it.
Well, they love when it's anything that they can exploit. Again,
yep.
Black versus white. They love that. That's their favorite. Even though when you watch this video and there's a full 45-minute, what is it called? Chest cam, cop cam you can watch or whatever. And there's actually 2 different cops. You can watch either footage. You can watch the security footage. You can watch people in their cars all by the, in the drive-thru. But they love anything that just gets people to question because, again, this guy is clearly drunk. He's drunk. He doesn't know how his car even got into the drive-thru. He's making up some lies like, oh, my girlfriend brought me here. And they're like, no, how did your car get in the drive-thru? Because clearly he fell asleep. He was drunk and in the car. And then, so you're like on the side of the cops. Clearly they cannot let this person drive away. He blows a 0.1 or something, 0.12 or whatever it was. They can't let him get in his car and just drive off. He's drunk. And I'm somebody who doesn't want to be on the road with anybody who's drunk. So I agree with that. But then he tries to, they get in a little tussle because they try to arrest him. He grabs a little taser. He's trying to tase them. And they shoot him. Again, this is where it gets to the point where you're like, yeah, well, the cops have no right to shoot the guy right there. I mean, he wasn't that kind of a threat. But again, this is what they do. They make it very easy for people to argue back and forth. And again, they're going to run with this one and call it.
Wait a minute. The guy was trying to tase the cops, and the cops don't have a right to shoot him?
No, because I think they could have shot him through, in the leg, not 3 times and kill him. But now, Dave, what you just said there is exactly what they want, right? Because all of a sudden that creates the conversation. And I actually kind of maybe a little bit see your point. And I'm like, yeah, I guess, if I was drunk and was out with the cops and they tried to arrest me for drunk driving and I'm clearly drunk. And I mean, you have to watch the video. He's clearly drunk. He may not blow a 0.2 or something, but he's clearly drunk.
You're trying to tase the cops. They don't even know. Maybe you have a gun also. I'd shoot you 4 times.
Yeah, and you kind of side with the cops. That's why on this one, when I'm like, if these cops get fired, you're like, well, I don't know. If somebody pulls out a taser and tries to shoot me, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just like, and you watch these cops, they act great the whole time. They give this guy as much chances as they can. They kind of make fun of him a little bit during the whole conversation because he keeps changing what he drank. He keeps changing how many he drank. How many did I have? I had 1 margarita. A couple minutes later, he says, I had 1.5 daiquiris. And they're like, did you have any margaritas? It's like, nope, no margaritas tonight. A couple minutes later, they're like, what'd you have to drink tonight? I had a daiquiri. I had a margarita. It just goes back. It's kind of a funny thing. It's sad in the end because the guy
from Louisiana
is no longer with us, and he doesn't know where he's from. He doesn't know where he's at. He keeps saying, "I'm on such and such road, and I'm in such and such city." And the cops are like, "No, you're not. You're not in that city. You're not on that road. You don't know where you're at." And of course, the guy's trying to get out of the reason why he's in the drive-thru because he realizes I'm drunk. I just fell asleep in the drive-thru. So they're asking him, "Well, how did you get your car in the drive-thru?" He's like, "Oh, my wife brought me here." They're like, "Yeah. So how did you get in the drive-thru in your car?" "Well, she dropped me off, and I got in this car, which was in the parking lot." "Okay, so how'd you get in the drive-thru?" They're just trying to get him to admit, "I drove into the park. I drove." And he finally admits that, and they have him blow, and he blows a 1 point or 0.1 something. And they go to handcuff him, and he gets upset and tries to run, grabs a taser, turns around to tase the cops, and the cops shoot him 3 times. So again, if there's ever I agree with Jason here. Fatally shot over that? I don't know. I think it's very easy to. But Dave, I get your point too. How do they know he doesn't have a gun?
And where did they shoot him, in the chest or?
Yeah, 3 shots. I don't think it would be fatal if they shot him 3 times in the leg.
Well, maybe they're aiming for the leg and hit him in the chest.
Aren't they trained to shoot to kill? They're trained that if they're going to fire their weapon, they try to kill the person, right?
Correct. They're trained to eliminate the threat. And this guy, is he a threat? I mean, he's running away. Sometimes you're like, okay, well, you could just call other officers and say, hey, there's this guy, he's running off. But clearly, when you watch this, it has absolutely nothing to do with race. In fact, I dare say that they treated the guy better because he was black. But if it was a white guy, same thing would have happened. It doesn't matter. And if it was a white guy who ran away and black cops that did it, the last thing I would ever think is, oh, they did it because he's white. It's like, no, they did that because the guy's drunk. He shouldn't be driving.
Yeah, systemic racism doesn't exist except in the mainstream media.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I don't know. Watch it if you want. It's there, and I've seen some people say, "Oh, well, why did their body cameras fall off?" Well, if you watch the other views, they get in a tussle with the guy, and those body cameras are not like cemented to their chest; they're like loosely attached, just like any other GoPro would be attached to somebody's helmet. If all of a sudden you started butting heads with another guy, your GoPro camera is going to fly off. But look,
you know what sorry, Jeran.
Go ahead.
You know what I think is systemically implemented is social immobility, like the how easy it is for one person to transition from extreme poverty to middle class, or someone from middle class to upper class. They make that absolutely much more difficult than it used to be. And I think a lot of the attributes that people will sometimes, when they're racist, they're attributing those attributes that is more associated with people in poverty than what would be associated with race. And that's the racism. Does that make sense at all? I mean, there's a lot of people who are, because they're in poverty, they're going to commit more crime. It's not because of their race.
Got you. No, I think that's definitely the case. I think you could argue it both ways, but I definitely see your point and think it's true. But as far as the whole idea of racism as a point with police or anything like that, I don't think that's the case. But again, could be wrong.
Okay, so you don't think that cops are looking at people and they're treating them, because I think that cops are more likely to treat people differently if they perceive them as having more money, because people with money are more of a threat because they're more likely to be able to defend themselves in court and actually
sure,
statistically know more about their rights.
But is that racist?
No doubt whatsoever that people with money, especially large sums of it, get treated differently. And God forbid that a police officer is dumb enough to do something to someone who's a multimillionaire or a billionaire. Their ass is done. Come on, let's be real here.
Well, I mean, I just remember, I'm remembering this interview. I saw a clip with some rapper that grew up, I think he's somebody's son who was already rich or famous, Lil Wayne, and he just said, I've never experienced racism, and my whole entire audience is white. And he's like, I'm afraid to say it, but the first time I saw my whole audience is white, I was like, what's racism? And I didn't experience it myself. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. He would think that and have that perception. So obviously if he was pulled over by a cop, even though I think he has tattoos on his face and stuff, what are the chances that he's going to get shot?
Yeah, very little, right?
Right.
I mean, soon if the cops recognize him right away, and
if they recognize him as someone in a position of fame, power, authority.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's definitely that, and yeah. I mean, anytime. I mean, I look at it and say if they think for any second, and again, I base a lot of this off of TV shows, which is a problem. I realize that, but in the couple shows I've watched, that I've been able to find, like that Live PD that's no longer on the air, or Cops or anything like that. Basically what it comes down to is if they think you're on drugs, you get treated one way. And if they don't, then you get treated another. And that's, I think, how they're taught. They're taught that people who are on drugs or are drunk are terrible people. These are the people that they need to go against. These are the people they need to get off the streets. These are the people that they need to go hard against. So when you're talking about some, I don't know, minority community in Atlanta, or you're talking about some minority community in Chicago, can you say those cops are racist? Well, if the majority of those people are what I just described, either on drugs or being assumed to be on drugs, then the cops treat them a certain way. So if you're talking about Beverly Hills, where the cops may pull people over there and don't assume or don't think right away that these people are on drugs, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. The cops are also trained to assess immediately, can you destroy the person's character? So if the person's on drugs, or if you catch them in a lie, then it's much easier for them to proceed forward with more aggression and just kind of be a dick.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when you see their attitude change.
Totally.
So, let's see here. What else do we have going on? Dave, any COVID updates? I don't know about everybody else. I'm seeing so many stupid tactics in this area. And again, I know David and I are in different, or in extremely cucked areas where everybody's wearing masks and everybody's acting crazy. But, the bank that I bank with, this banking union or whatever they're called, credit union, they have like reduced hours where they're open Monday and Wednesday from 8 to noon, which I just think is ridiculous. Like, what is that doing? It's just getting more people in the store at the same time when in the bank. I mean, so it's like now when you go to the bank, there's a line of 15 people and you're like, wouldn't it be better if people were spaced out if this was actually a pandemic? Same thing with the grocery store we go to. They usually has 2 doors and now they have 1 door. What the hell is that for? How is that better? Well, let's have everybody go through one. Dave, are you seeing other stupidity-laden things?
Yeah, well, my bank is closed, so as far as they're really scared. I was in Manhattan today on the Upper West Side, and every single person, including the people jogging on the West Side Highway riding bikes, were wearing masks. Maybe a couple bikers weren't, but people in full-out runs wearing a mask. The masks are what's going to kill people. People are going to die from wearing these masks and rebreathing all of their carbon dioxide and toxins. It's unbelievable. I was at the grocery store, and this woman, I'll just call her morbidly obese woman, was crossing the road, and it was taking her very long. She's holding on to her cart. She's gasping for air, but she has this mask on, up to the top of her bridge of her nose, around the bottom of her chin. And I walked by, I went to my car. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. And then I look back, and she's standing next to her husband, who isn't doing so well, next to the car, trying to get their breath before they sit down in the car. And I walk over, and I handed him one of the cards. I said, listen, you're not required to wear that mask. That mask is going to kill you. And I started explaining to her about, she needs all the oxygen she can get and how the virus is nonsense. And both of them are like, wow, really? I'm like, all right, this is good. I thought they were just going to reject it. And she's like, wow, thank you so much. And she took the card and everything. And then I was just like, you don't need to wear one. I said, I never wear one. I go in there. No one ever gives me any problem. And then I left, and I went and sat in my car, and I watched them the entire time. It took them to get in their car, which is like another 2 or 3 minutes, and they didn't remove their masks.
Oh, man.
And it was just like, they got it, but they were still petrified to remove their masks. So the fear is real. And fear is going to kill so many people. It's going to be ridiculous. You heard the nurse's story that, young people are coming in, they can't breathe, and it's just because they're having a panic attack and they're putting them on vents and dying, and they're dying.
Oh, you're talking about that nurse Erin from Elmhurst, the one.
Right, and that's not the first nurse that said that. Other nurses are saying the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she's actually showing, on hidden camera that people are being tested repeatedly and coming up negative, but then are still listed as coronavirus confirmed. They're being put on ventilators, and she says, they're coming in with just panic attacks, basically can't breathe, and which could be from the masks. We don't know. I mean, they're not going to say that. They're not going to know that. And then they're being listed as coronavirus confirmed, placed on ventilators, and she even is quoted as saying exactly, you'll walk into these hospitals and never walk out. She says everything that is being done in these hospitals is based on lies. It's based on bad care. Nobody cares. And again, it's crazy.
14 years. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again, though. 14 years ago, I was changing careers, and I didn't think I was freaking out. I thought I was pretty rational, but I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding. I thought I was going to die. I didn't even think I was going to make it to the hospital. I get to the emergency room. They're freaking out on me. They ended up testing me every way. They did a scope on me. Nothing was wrong with me. At the end, they're like, you had a panic attack. And if I had gone to the hospital like that now, or, in the last month or two,
good night.
I would have been dead. I'd be dead. And that was so when people say, people don't understand what a panic attack is. I didn't. I had one. I never had another one. And I thought I was going to die. So if I went into the hospital now, forget it. And think about the fear that people are under. I mean, they don't have their jobs. The economy's falling apart. They're afraid of death, that this crazy little virus is swimming through the air looking for a hole to go into their body. It's unbelievable. I'm surprised more people aren't dying.
Does it go through your ears? Do we need to? Is the next thing you need to wear headphones?
That would be a good idea, right? Because they could get through your eardrums. That is true.
So goggles, mask.
Well, they're coming up with the full cone suit, the full helmet suit now. Have you seen that?
Oh God, I saw it a while back. Is that for real?
Yeah, there's companies making these things that rest on your shoulders, and it just encapsulates your whole head, kind of like what's that cartoon, the Futurama?
Have you seen? Tell me you've seen this. Have you seen the guy? I think he's in Italy, who's making social distance shoes. Oh my God! Oh my God! Yeah.
Say what now?
I'm gonna bring up the article, and I'll bring up the article and show you guys in a second. He's making shoes that are
6-foot soles.
No, they're 3 foot in length. So if everybody wears these shoes, they're I'm laughing thinking about it. They're these huge 3 foot long looking clown shoes. They cost $100. You can get them.
But somebody can come up behind you, and then they're only 3 feet away.
How do I get off this ride? I mean, come on now. This is just getting over the top.
There's one-way trips to Mars with Elon.
Can we all?
Elon!
If we all really believe
help
hard
us.
enough, let's just think hard enough that Mars exists, and then it will pop into existence, and we can all travel.
True. Yes, I'm hoping.
Dave says that's all we got to do. So I'll bring this up. I'll bring it up. So
our other option. Did I mention the other option we have? To join the elite and to get rid of the useless eaters.
No.
Let's join with him, Gandalf.
How many times a day do you guys just suddenly laugh out loud thinking about something related to all this nonsense? It was about 3 times today. I literally burst out into laughter all by myself.
Yeah, my wife and I have a good laugh all the time. If we get in the car and go anywhere, we have a good laugh. If we dare turn on the TV, we have a good laugh. Let's talk about some of the laughs. Don't be right. Listen to Jeran DITRH RAW, and we'll talk about socially distant genes.
From the dawn of man, we have turned to nature to help attain balance within ourselves. But somewhere, we lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? iLife is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to ialife.com now. That's AYA life.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
He was the deputy director of MI6. MI6. Britain's most senior diplomat. He was knighted by the Queen and in charge of thousands of highly trained spies. But he was also a member of the Paedophile Information Exchange. He had 45 diaries full of sex fantasies with children. His friend was the private secretary of Margaret Thatcher. He strangled a child and hit another with his car. He raped young boys and organized orgies with children for other politicians.
The Enigma Channel, intelligent television for planet Earth. EnigmaTV.com.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio.
All right, welcome back. You are listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Thank you much for joining us. Before the break, we were talking about all the nonsense going on and all the ways that we laugh at it. So this is the video, guys, of the cobbler. He's Romanian. I'm sorry, I said Italian. Who's making these wonderful shoes. Let's see. So he can social distance in style. Here you go. You see him making these... fed up with people ignoring the corona social distancing.
Oh, goodness.
Craig Left made a shoe to help. Look at these shoes he's wearing.
What?
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
There's some esoteric stuff going on here.
Look at the clown. Look at the clown shoes. And I thought Bumper Tables was funny. If I see anybody wearing these, Dave, can we shoot them 5 times?
Well, I really enjoyed the Joker movie.
So I should return mine?
Oh my gosh. It looks like the Wicked Witch shoes. Oh, are those supposed to be Adidas? This is so crazy.
Such a joke. What started out as a joke has caught on. I got a call from a lady in England. She wanted some, so now he's making them. They're only $150 each. Yeah, and if you just type in social distance shoes and go to images, then you'll get all these fantastic images of these wonderful 3-foot-long shoes. Here's this guy wearing them on his street. This is fantastic stuff.
What? You know what this makes me wonder? You know how we look at weird pictures of stuff, of ridiculous things from the past and think, oh goodness, people were weird back then? Maybe those were just ridiculous things from then, and at the time there were people like us saying, oh, that is some crazy stuff. And I also would like to think, I'd like to hope that people aren't buying the stuff because they want to socially distance, but that they think it's funny and that they're trying to gather things for them to collect for the future COVID hoax museums.
I like it. Is there
memorabilia?
Nice. I like these are great because they keep these people 6 feet apart, but of course the people are right next to each other. That's great.
You know that COVID only goes forward; it doesn't go sideways. It only goes forward.
Right. They got the rules to chess before they were, brought into existence. Soon there's going to be the bishop virus.
Hey, can we talk about something equally as ridiculous? Little SpaceX. We've had a few launches over the last week.
Oh boy,
I love it. It's one of my favorite topics.
It is Jason's favorite topic.
All right, so we had the launch the other day. I guess it was a Starlink launch, and the landing was a tremendous success because the vibrations did not knock out the satellite connection. Did you guys see that on the landing?
Yeah, I saw it. It's great. It's fantastic.
So this time, because everyone was making fun of it, they decided to allow the cameras to follow the path down?
If I had my camera set up on a tripod looking at a little miniature raft, okay, with a green screen behind it, and I had a Roman candle in my hand just spewing out some smoke, and I put it down on the raft so my hand was just above the frame of the camera, that's what it looked like.
It was so bad.
It was so bad. How anybody can believe that is just beyond what I can fathom anymore.
Well, I'm going to watch
the litmus test. Anyone that, if you could go pull that up. Oh, Jeran, you have it?
But did you see this part? Did you see these things release? Let me bring it up.
And they launched just before sunrise. So just by chance, when the rocket was, letting go of the first stage, it tilted and saw the sunrise on the crest of the Earth perfectly.
Oh, yeah. And then they see it.
Yeah, I saw that part.
But you saw this part here? This is the releasing. You should be able to see it on Skype.
Yeah, I'm looking on Skype. I see it.
Okay. You saw these release?
Oh, yeah, the release. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to talk about. So we see the release, and you know how we see these bright chain of satellites going through the sky? Everyone's filming it everywhere. Right. Look at the brightness of these things coming out there and how they're not that bright, and two, they go off a little bit and then they literally just fade out, I don't know, in less than a half a mile.
Shouldn't they be uber bright? And I know you're saying everybody's filming them. I have yet to film them.
Well, no, we're seeing all those films of them. Do we know anybody that's filmed them, or are we just seeing lots of films of them?
I'm just seeing lots of films of them, but I've tried to, coordinate the time, and for some reason, I don't ever see them. So I don't know if it's just a bad location where I'm at, or if it's maybe I need to go up in the hills where it's not.
It's a bunch of BS, and they're just like making people think that they're up there, and that there's hundreds of these. There's not even hundreds. There's dozens of these films.
Well, I've seen actual astronomy channels complaining about it because it's messing with the night sky, which seems a little more legit. But by the way, does everybody work for SpaceX? Are they like 22 years old or something?
Oh, yeah. And they work.
It's like everybody I see looks like they could be my children, which is just scary.
And they had to work at Hollister before.
Paige and I have a friend whose kid, one of her sons, was applying to SpaceX, and she's so excited, and he's just getting out of college, and he's going to work.
He's right age then.
And we're just biting our tongues, like we can't say anything. It's unbelievable, but he didn't get the job.
What kind of clearances? Does anybody know anything about getting a job with them? Like, what kind of top secret, this, that, and the other thing, like all that crap?
I imagine it's just like Freemasonry, where
Just anybody can just come in at the bottom, like tech support or answering phones or a secretary or something, and then you could just move up the ladder, and just like a hypnotist at the carnival will figure out who is willing to act like they can fall asleep on stage and then keep them on stage for the rest of the tricks. SpaceX will let people move up the ladder if they're willing to play ball.
All right, so Jeran, you showing this video now?
Sure. Did this guy change his channel name because of you?
The balloon, what, it changed it? What is it?
His new name is Overlook Horizon.
Well, that was the initials, Overlook Horizon Balloon, Space Balloons.
Oh, he has 2 channels or no?
Maybe he changed the name. Because I did ask him recently, why is it space balloons? You know that there's some crazy flat earthers that think rockets are balloons.
Right.
So he's talking. Look, go back to that shot though.
Yeah, so you can see his
space balloons.
Channel is, but his new channel is just Overlook Horizon. So there's no space balloon.
Maybe I got to him. So those little milk crates, they're catching the sunrise.
Okay, so I'm going back.
Yeah, go back.
This one? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So he was very impressed at the sun, that they were high enough to see the sun over the curve, and then there is a shot where it shows the classic, Star Trek-y sunrise over the curved ball Earth. But what are these water molecules coming up? Doesn't it look like this part is filmed underwater? On the left-hand side, after each burst, and
I
then
think it's filmed in slow motion, but it could be underwater. Looks like it is underwater.
Who's Captain Green Screen here?
This guy.
Right, he's a funny guy.
He live streams every launch.
This one
makes up excuses. Unbelievable.
You're talking about this horizon piece here, where you can see the sunrise coming?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, and then, so this is the one where eventually, let's see, now you can see the horizon a little bit more over the ball here. And here it comes back down to Earth. And I thought this was interesting, the shadow on I don't know what's going on here, the shadow of the rocket on its own exhaust, maybe? And here comes the landing. Let's see. Here you go, Jason. We're about to get there. Excuse me. Here it comes. So, I mean, this could be very easily done. This is just, somebody could be lowering it with their hand. A little flame.
Now look how high it is above the clouds. And then how fast it's going to be down there. So how fast is that thing going to go from?
I totally agree.
Because you're saying, I love the level of excitement on Captain Green Screen.
Yeah, look, it's right here, right? I mean, this is where it is supposedly just seconds before. So just seconds before, it's right here, way above the clouds. I mean, you can still see a curve. It can't be, I mean, it's got to be way high. And then just moments later, here comes the, the backwards torch. You have this with a little bit of green screen and a ocean background. And look,
look, and there it is. There it is.
Excited, pumping his fists. He probably came. To be honest,
were you able to find the video that we had made?
Yeah, I did find
it. It seemed like there was a little fade in, fade out. There could have been a cut right there. Just like how you can fake certain movies where it seems like it's done an all-in-one take. There was a little fade in and fade out covered by the smoke.
It gets real dark here. Like, why isn't it?
Did you see that host go dark and then slowly light again, like you were just pulling it with your mouse on the Final Cut Pro circa 2008 software?
And goes clip and right back out. Look how beautiful. Looks like a little reveal. Oh, it's just, it's amazing. And this guy's just never been so excited.
I was communicating with a guy that's in charge of, what was the technical term? Hold on, give me 1 second. He
what's going on there with the Earth? What is it doing? Look at this little, it's like it's spinning. Where did I see that? Maybe a little bit further. Looked like it started to spin out of control. Oh, right here. No.
Look at him. Look at that guy.
He's very happy. He's loving life.
Well, I'm happy he's happy.
Yeah, that's how I feel sometimes. Like, whatever floats his boat. This guy gets off. Anyway, go ahead.
He drinks espresso for SpaceX.
So I was talking with a guy he teaches aerodynamic theory and talking about pitching and rolling, and just landing a helicopter on a raft like that is tough enough, but there's no mechanism that could stop a falling pole with just a rocket at one end to stabilize it. There's nothing to move it laterally, to adjust its position for wind and drift. It's absolutely impossible to land a rocket like they're showing us. And anybody in that has any flight experience, especially with landing vertical craft, knows this. So any of you out there that are listening, it's time to speak up. It's time to say something and reach out. And doesn't my thought experiment explain a lot? I mean, maybe it's just the way my mind works, but again, if you just take a simple thing like a Toyota Celica or a Honda Civic, those weigh about 2,500 pounds, 3,000 pounds, and if you just picture lifting one up as high as the Empire State Building, which again is only 1,500 feet, and you dropped it, imagine how much propulsion you'd have to blow out the bottom of that to have it slow down and land just as is standing up on the ground. So that's
a lot.
Yeah. So now their rocket is 40,000 pounds empty. That's without anything on it. It's supposedly 40,000 pounds. So that's the equivalent of 25 or 30 of those cars, and it's on a little pencil stick. And it's coming down, and then just a little bit of flame is coming out, and it's landing perfectly upright. I can't see
it reminds me of weightlifting. The real power in the resistance is when you're not pushing the weights up, but you're bringing your weights down with intent and at the rate that you want it. And that's super important with a freaking rocket.
Good point.
And that shot from where it showed the curve. So what's the lowest altitude that you can see the curve? So let's say it's 70,000 feet. 70,000 feet? Is that
you're saying here is 70,000? So about maybe here where this curve is?
Sure.
Okay, so you're saying this is 70,000 feet, right? So it gets here.
I think. Well, in reality, I mean, in the ball model, is that 70,000 feet because we've been up to 120,000 feet and it's flat as F.
Well, that's what Neil deGrasse says. You could be at 128. So
70,000 feet. How many seconds until it touches down? And someone calculate the speed.
We're at 728 now. So let's see, 728. So we're at 728. Now we're at 738. So 10 seconds. Let's see where it comes down. What did I say? 728. I won't be able to do speed very quickly, but so it's going to be, how close are we? 728. We can go down to here. So about a minute, 20 seconds maybe? Or maybe I'm off on that?
No, it was much faster. Is that what the timer showed?
I think, hold on, maybe I'm wrong on it. So we showed it here. It's at T plus 7:15, and then when it lands.
So when they were showing it live, I thought it was like 15 seconds.
Let me see. The soonest that we see. Oh well, you're right. Right here. No, that's 7:20. Hold on, I'm trying to see if I can.
This whole thing was supposedly live. Just play the video from here, from that point, until it lands.
Okay, we just did. So it was 7:28 was the last time we saw the Earth from its view. And then when we see it land is 7:28, 8:40. So a minute 10.
So a minute 10.
Yeah, it went from 7:28 and landed at 8:30.
So if it was at 70,000 feet, that's 1,000 feet a second.
How does that compare to how quickly a plane would land? I know they're not supposed to be the same kind of vehicle in any way, but I'm just trying to imagine it visually if I was on the ground.
Yeah, way different.
Wait, 1,000 feet a second. 1,000 feet a second. Isn't that like 17,000 miles an hour? 1,000 feet. 1,000. I don't have my. Let me get my calculator.
I could figure that out if I had a piece of paper and pencil.
Yeah, it's 1,000 feet a second, and it's only going 1 mile every 5 seconds.
It's 60,000 feet a minute. So divided by 5,280 is 11 miles a minute.
No, I can't be 11 miles. Well, 11 miles a minute would only be 11 times 60, 600 miles per hour. I don't know.
I got to think about it after the show. I can't multitask.
Okay. Anyway, here we have its convex form. Thank you, Dan the Waterman. Says, walk like us, but they are not like us. Totally agree.
That's lyrics from that cool song, right? B.O.B.
Absolutely. I used to like B.O.B., be a big fan of his, and then he told me that Eric Dubay told him not to talk to me, and then he copyrights me on every single video now that has B.O.B. in it, so I don't like him anymore.
Yeah, another thing that I can cock my eyebrow at Eric Dubay, because that guy kind of gives me weird vibes.
Yeah, you think? It might have something to do with, Glowbusters just told us it's 681 miles per hour. That's...
Thank you so much, Glowbusters.
Thank you, Bob. So let's see here. What else is going on? Dave, did you see the fluoride case is going to court?
Yes, and the mainstream media has been ignoring it.
Imagine that.
Wait, no, come on. I mean, they're not doing their job?
Come on.
That's okay.
They are doing their job. Their job is to deceive and mislead.
Right.
There you go.
Now, we still don't know what's going to happen with the case, but they're going after, they're suing the EPA to not allow the water to be fluoridated, which happens in something like 80% of America. I don't know about the rest of the world, but do you guys have fluoridated water there?
Thank goodness no.
Negative.
Wow, really? Then we are definitely moving in with you guys. Get the room ready. Get the plastics ready. Because here in California we do. But thank goodness for distilling your own water. That helps, and knowing where to get water that's not fluoridated, which is, we've got some machines around town that are Crystal Springs. I always forget the name of them now, but whatever it is, I looked it up and it doesn't have fluoride. So hopefully that case goes well. It would be very interesting if it comes back that all of a sudden, and they're pointing out quite clearly that this causes, there's overwhelming evidence that it destroys brain cells, it lowers IQ, and, again, a lot of children are getting this in their formula, and it is not a good thing. So keep an eye on that.
And in our water and everything else, they have the endocrine disruptors. I forget the name of the chemical, which is literally removing the testosterone from men, and they're feminizing the world. And that is part of the plan, because it will lower the birth rate. It'll, that's why there's so much infertility problems. That, along with the fake meat burgers that have 10,000 times the estrogen that you should be consuming. It's a crazy agenda. Yeah, estrogen mimickers.
Great.
And how much crap, when people don't realize just how much stuff estrogen mimickers are in, and you wonder why we have a whole bunch of soy boys pushing to take guns away.
Right.
Absolutely.
Our friend Alex Stein, Conspiracy Castle, sent me a great meme. If I can find it, I'll send it to you, and you can put it up.
Do you guys think this whole idea of them talking about reimagining the police and defunding the police, is this just more move towards drones and contact tracing? Is this like the new idea of police will be no more police officers actually out because they don't need that anymore?
It's probably a way to federalize things more, if I had to guess.
Yeah. They want a one-world controlled military. The police are bad, therefore we have a one-world military, one-world government.
So we need the UN to come in and provide the police force, and
lots of blue hats.
And they'll be run by drones and contact tracing and tracking your every move through your phone. Pretty soon, looks like it's where it's going. That's what I think is going to happen. As far as Corona, I don't know if there was anything else we wanted to talk about. Hopefully people are just waking up to, I think a few people are. I'm seeing it in my own family, where these people who are very afraid now are saying, hey, let's get together for Father's Day, which is good news because it's like, all right, well, I thought you would be worried about a second wave and thinking that we can't possibly be within 3 miles of each other. So it's good to know that maybe people are waking up to it. But I mean, people I think are seeing or should be seeing that there isn't excess deaths. You know, I ran the numbers for California. I've seen people run the numbers for Washington. But again, it's this whole problem with the self-fulfilling prophecy fact, right? Where they can say, yeah, there's less deaths because of social distancing, because of mask wearing, because we close the economy. That's why there isn't these excess deaths. Well, you know, they'll say that's why closing the economy and closing the society is so important. But that's why I see it as part of the pandemic. That's what they needed to do, because otherwise it doesn't work. If you don't close society and you don't shut down society, but you tell everybody there's some fear bug out there, but some beer bug that's going to come get you, then all of a sudden there's not excess deaths, and all of a sudden the jig is up, right? Because people will
you listened to us and it worked.
That's what they were able to say. Is they're able to say now, the reason that there isn't deaths, the reason there isn't excess death, the reason the deaths isn't higher than 2017, 2018, 2019 is because we took all these steps. So again, you can never, how can you ever prove that person wrong?
And wave 2.
So it's a good thing that all of that riot stuff happened exactly when it did, and not a month earlier or 2 months earlier.
Well, the riots could be responsible for wave 2, which will come in the fall when everyone's going into cold and flu season in the lowest health that the world has ever been in.
So then, Dave, they can do the same thing again, right? They can shut down everything again, and this is where people need to stand up. I'm hoping we see that, but if they try wave 2, which they definitely will, if you look at Lockstep, you kind of see that coming. If you listen to Gates, you see the idea of Pandemic 2 coming. I mean, Pandemic 2. So if people just stand up and say, no, we're not closing our businesses, we're not doing this.
Maybe people will die, though. Maybe people will die because of the lower health, and maybe 5G is part of it. Maybe not. Maybe they, you know, with this lower health level, more people will die.
Well, I was also thinking, do you think by scaring people to go to the hospital a little bit that also will cause deaths?
Oh yeah, there's so many people that didn't go to the hospitals to have treatments that they needed and died at home, and those are COVID deaths.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
And of course,
all deaths are COVID deaths.
George Floyd is a COVID death.
Think of all the people that would have been diagnosed with cancer, the kind that, I don't know, I'm just going to make a weird example, like someone who would just get their leg amputated and then the cancer would be, gone forever, but then instead it metastasizes to the rest of their body when they finally go, and then that person's going to die, and it'll be just marked during that time of year.
Another sad COVID death.
What I'd like to see, I don't know how they can prove it, is the number of people that didn't die of cancer because they had a little lump that they didn't know about, they didn't go to the hospital, and it went away because they, started eating better or whatever.
I would love to
destroy themselves with chemo.
Yeah.
Yes, good point, David. Good point. That's a sincere silver lining that just made me feel a little bit better.
Hey,
well, those are just COVID survivors.
Before we hit the break, I am going to be doing an interview with CBS.
What?
CBS is doing a piece on internet censorship, and who's policing the internet. It seems like a legit piece. It's a series of pieces that they're putting on, and they're coming to my house in the next week to film and go over everything. And I just said, just make me look good. And she goes, I'm going to make you look like you look. I'm like, great.
But by the way, I can add one little thing to what I was talking about the other day with you guys from my same source at the school. If they're going to force the students to wear masks, and if they don't, they will be expelled.
If the children don't wear masks, they'll be expelled?
Well, this is from a university, but yes.
Or children, I guess you can call them that. Oh, boy. Expelled for not wearing a mask.
Good, so they'll be in less debt, right? Or do they still have to pay for the whole thing if they're expelled? Good, I want them to have less debt.
Can you wear the mask below your pay? We're going to call the
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
Promising change. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump set to sign an executive order this week designed to reform policing.
Some of the things the president is looking at doing is enhancing policing, where in certain situations, certain calls that the police might go to, they might be accompanied by a social worker or a mental health expert or somebody who knows not just about policing, but knows how to deal with some of these psychosocial aspects of policing as well. So that's coming out tomorrow. We're going to get legislation from the Senate, I believe, on Wednesday. We already know what the House is doing. And the president suggested that taken together, all of this may form a comprehensive approach to reforming policing and to increase those opportunities in communities that get to the result or that get to the very root cause of crime in those cities, which tends to be a lack of opportunity.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. The measure from Senate Republicans is expected to include new restrictions on police chokeholds and other practices. Tomorrow, the Senate Judiciary Committee is expected to hold a hearing on policing changes. Despite pushback from health officials in Oklahoma over the possible spread of COVID-19, President Trump still plans to hold a rally in Tulsa Saturday. Vice President Mike Pence expected to join him.
We feel very confident going forward with the rally this coming weekend. We're working closely with the governor. We'll have measures in place to be screening people coming in to the facilities, but Oklahoma's really led the way.
The Tulsa World newspaper has also called on the president to cancel the rally due to health risks. A letter obtained by the Associated Press from Major League Baseball says several players and staff have tested positive for COVID-19. The Food and Drug Administration revoking emergency authorization for the malaria drugs chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine as treatment for the virus, saying the risks outweigh the benefits. America is listening to Fox News.
You must unite what has been set asunder. We are TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
Walk like us. They even talk like us. Walk like us. But they are not like us. On the weekday, you can see the signs, you can see the signs. They wear the disguise. Look into the mind's eye. There's nowhere to hide. Frosted-covered lines. Whispers from afar.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw, and we've got myself, Dave from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, Jason Lingren, and Rose 777. All their links and everything are on the screen and in the description, so please follow them and do all that fun stuff. Just listening to that news report, what the hell was that? Now, that's their way of reforming the police, is to send mental health experts with the police. How would that have helped in this situation where this guy got shot? It wouldn't have helped at all.
Not at all.
Stupid. Go ahead, Dave. You feel ready to say something.
No, I had you know how we're seeing in comments. I know that you might not even look at your comments, but how people say, "Hey, can we be YouTube friends? Do you want to be friends?" Have you noticed that? It's been going around for a while.
It's a bot.
Yeah, those are bots. I blocked them.
Yeah, I think that I know they're bots, but I think that's a way to tag a channel. What?
Could be, yeah. I've been suspicious of those for ages.
Certainly the same ones in our community, for sure.
Yeah, I think you want to delete and hide them from your channel, because then they tag your channel. So maybe when you try to monetize your channel, they can scan your channel like, oh, nope, he's got 27 videos tagged.
There's a channel called Tone Junkies that's like Kemper profiles that I go to all the time, and I've seen that crop up a couple times.
I think it's funny when people respond to the comments and say really mean things.
For super chats, Zimri Tapia says, my cousin just got COVID, supposedly. She messed up by going to get checked after feeling sick and tested positive. Yes, she messed up. Zimri Tapia said they said it wasn't too bad because she didn't have a cough, so to isolate herself for a couple weeks and treat it like a regular flu and then come back to test. Well, at least they didn't admit her and put her on a ventilator. At the very least. Well, maybe I don't know where she went. Maybe it's some, I don't know, place where they don't do the whole murder thing. Go ahead, Dave. You're going to say something?
No, I thought, are we going to take calls, or do we have any calls lined up?
Yeah, of course. I was just finishing off my listing if there was anything else we needed to talk about. You wanted to say something about my driver's license. Or, I'm sorry, getting a child a birth certificate.
Oh, yeah. So on Globebusters, you were talking about you were worried about your kid getting a job, and if he doesn't have a birth certificate or a social security number, he won't be able to get a job. The question I have is, let's say he comes 16, 18, 20 years old, whatever, he decides he wants to do that. What's to stop somebody from going and saying, hey, I don't have a birth certificate, and getting one 20 years later?
Well, I did a little research on it, Dave, and one thing I saw that I didn't even know, did you know you can't get a driver's license without a birth certificate?
You get into that whole thing where you don't need a driver's license unless you're doing commerce.
Well, I don't know if that's true. This is where I say I got into trouble with that. I tried that, and you're right, I never got arrested, but they gave me a ticket. They said, okay, here you go. Here's a ticket for driving without a license. Here's a ticket for driving without insurance. And then the next time I'm driving and I got pulled over, then they said, all right, well, and now we're suspending your license. So then I got my license suspended. And I tried all these things. And then eventually it got to the point where either I wasn't going to drive around anymore or I needed to pay off all this stuff. So I cucked, man. I paid everything. And now I've got a license and I pay for insurance and I have my car registered so that I get left alone. So I definitely backed down to the pressure because I didn't want to deal with that anymore. And then they give you like some bill and you keep getting more and more bills saying that increase the amount. Here's the fines.
And it scares you. It scares you. Even though it's not real, it scares you. You have to do the whole counter offer thing. It's not easy. It is easy. It just takes time and no fear.
Yeah, like with Cal Washington, he talks about how when he started driving without a license at first, people would really mess with him and it was really annoying. He had to deal with things a lot, keep talking, in court and stuff. But then the cops got to know him and they knew that he knew his shit and then they knew not to mess with him. So it's kind of like a geographical thing as well.
But one of the things he has to do, doesn't he have to have some trust account with a bunch of money in it to cover any kind of accident?
Well, he keeps, I think it's $75 cash in his pocket at all times, just in case something happens with his car being towed. I forgot the exact process, but it's ridiculously simple. It's a shame I don't remember it word for word. But yeah, he keeps around $75 cash, and that's what he does.
But that handles insurance? So what happens if he gets in an accident? I don't know what state he lives in.
I don't know what he does about it, a car accident. That's a good question.
I don't know. I just have gotten my ass handed to me so many times. I mean, David knows the story. We had a nice Honda Accord that I bought for my wife for her birthday. It was like $5,000. It was a 2003. It was a great car. Very happy with it. And we just said, okay, we're not going to register it and we're not going to insure it. And it was great for about a year until my neighbor was pulling out of her driveway and destroyed it. Completely destroyed my car. And then we go up to them and they're like, oh, don't call the cops. We don't have insurance. And we're like, oh, we don't either. So this is a good thing. And they're like, yeah, we'll take care of it. We have a mechanic who takes care of it. Well, the mechanic came and said, this car's totaled. It needs, it needs more work than it's worth. It needs, the work would be more than $5,000 because they completely smashed the front end and bent the chassis and the whole front of the car. It was undrivable. So then we told them, okay, well, can you pay us? And they said, well, we don't have the money. And we said, okay, well, you owe us $5,000. And they said, sue us. Because if we did go to court, we're not going to get shit when we tell them we didn't have insurance and the car wasn't registered. So we lost because I was a tough guy who wasn't going to pay $100 a month for car insurance. I lost a $5,000 car. So I learned my lesson. Now
Did you burn their house down?
Well, it's kind of one of those choose your battles things. It's like, yeah, you're in the right because of the whole commerce thing. It's like taxes. Do you really want to fight that battle?
That's
or just freaking pay them? And I know the difference between what's right and wrong. I've been studying this law shit for years, but it's like, I'm not going to not pay property taxes on our new house because even if I'm right, they're still almost certainly would take our house away.
Right. And that's just what it comes down to. I mean, and again, I understand people want to fight for that right, and I agree with them. And but on one hand, I'm just like, okay, wait, so $100 a month, and I just make sure that even if I just was paying $100 a month and those people totaled my car, all I have to do is go to my insurance, say, hey, these people totaled my car, they would have written me a check for $5,000. No questions asked. Simple, easy. I've never heard of anybody having anything happen where like insurance isn't going to cover it. No, if somebody totals your car, that's what insurance is for.
Hey, one more topic before we go to calls is anybody getting, I got notice from my bank that they, to avoid COVID, they're sending me new credit cards, contactless credit cards, that you just wave them near the machine. So there's with a trackable chip in them. Didn't ask for it. It's coming. And the reason is COVID. I mean, 5 years ago, if they said they were sending that, people would freak out. They're like, no, that's an invasion of privacy. But now people are welcoming it. Did any of you guys get that? Anybody in chat?
Mm-mm.
Interesting. Maybe it's just me. Oh, God, boy.
I don't have any credit cards.
Hey, can you guys check the Skype chat for a moment?
Yep, reading it. You want to bring him on?
Yeah, he had something he wanted to address that he and I were talking about a few minutes ago.
You can come on. You want me to add him?
Yeah, well, I didn't want to impose if you didn't want to talk about it, but
I love me RV.
Well, so do I. He's a great dude. So yeah, if you want to bring him on for a few minutes.
I'm cool with it. I love RV, but I was going to say that ignore trolls. But you're right.
Well, I think he wants to address something on a greater notion than that. But all right, cool.
Sweet.
I added him to the call, so let me know when he gets here. But we can take a call for now. Let's see. Let's start out in Quebec. 418. You're on Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? What's up?
Disparaître, tabarnak, je suis pas que c'est moi. Désolé, je suis pas raciste. Un blanc ou un noir qui fait ça, un haïtien, un chinois, il va prendre un homme.
Hello?
Il va faire le malade.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Parlez-vous français?
À ce soir.
Let's try one more time. Hello. You're on the air.
N'importe quoi. Puis, en prend de la police. Ça montre que t'es honnête.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye now.
That'll be enough for that.
All right, RV's here. What's up, RV?
RV,
what's up, David? How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Good.
Hey, man.
Hi, Rose. How's it going? Jason.
Doing great.
Hello, my friend.
So RV is here to tell us something real that happened in the world today. Go ahead, RV.
Yeah, the only thing real is when you walk out of your house and you look around, and that's very real. Everything else is not. When you turn on the TV or flip on the or the old days, flip on the radio. But yeah, nothing real besides like I said, going outside and enjoying the nice fresh air and the sunshine.
Hugging a tree.
For all the beauty is.
So what's going on, RV? What do you got?
Nothing. Just as we I was talking to Jason a bit. There seems to be a little bit of drama with the show calling and all that, and that's the unfortunate things that we're all dealing with. And David, we talked about it many a time. We just want to focus on truth, and we want to stay away from all that drama. It takes away from the truth. And
so I'm unaware of any drama or shill calling. Jeran, do you know?
That's why I don't pay attention to comments, so I don't see that shit.
Yeah, I don't. What's going on? Now that you sucked us in,
don't put your energy towards the negativity. Let's just focus on the positive and put forth the good work.
And I heard RV talk about it the other day. I heard you guys talking about it on Jason's show, and I totally agree. And this is what you guys said that was so perfect. Is you said, we're just some guys. I'm just a guy who lives in California that likes to talk shit about space and thinks it's all a joke. They're faking space.
Scam
and
Bitcoin.
I think that they're, everything on the media that they're telling us is contrived, that they're trying to put people against each other. So I'm just some guy. If people out there want to call me a shill or say they don't agree with me, so what? I don't care. So I don't look at comments anymore. If you don't want to watch my show, don't watch it. If you think RV has all the truth and I have none, go watch RV. If you think Jason has all the truth and I have none, go watch Jason. If you think I have half-truths and Jason has half-truths, then take the good and leave the bad. That's it. And you guys said that's all I can do.
And nobody's perfect. And Jeran, also, that's very humble of you to just say you're just a guy. But also, I would say that I think that you're great because you want to reveal the deception because it will help people, because helping people understand the deception and talking shit about space because it's fake is very helpful to people, and I think that's why a lot of us do that, but none of us are ever going to be 100% right, and that's why people, before they even listen to any podcast, should understand how the brain works and practice discernment, have a balanced brain, and be able to listen to information, because everyone can make a mistake, it's possible, and understand what to do with all the information, gather all the information, interpret it, comprehend it, and then act on it correctly.
The thing is, and I think Jason and I have talked about this before, is when you're in this business, you also get a lot of emails from people who tell you personally that you've changed their life. I've had so many people, and I mean hundreds of people, if not thousands, who have told me that they were former atheists, that because of things that I said brought them back to the Creator. That is amazing to me. There's not very many people in this world that can say that they've done that they've taken people and changed their minds from this, nihilistic, materialistic world where basically the media is pushing this atheistic view. Obviously, science is doing everything they can to discredit the Bible, discredit the Creator. Everything that they do is to give you this idea that you're on a spinning ball flying through outer space. It's all nonsense. And so when you realize you've touched people and that you've changed the world for the better, and whether people want to believe that or not, and these people who believe in space, flat earthers, they're making the world worse. When you're bringing people back to the Creator and realizing that everything that you do and everybody you interact with, it's important, and you can actually be a good person, and you can actually, maybe you were a bad person in your past, but by changing it today and making all the activities that you do from here forward positive, you can make a change to the world. You can make the world a better place for your children. That's hugely important, and it's something I think we're all doing. Nobody here is making the world a worse place. So it's all a good thing. Now, the people that are making the world a worse place is the people out there name-calling, calling people shills. I just don't see the point. Anyway, I'm done talking. Go ahead, RV.
Yeah, well stated, Jeran. It's just like I said with Jason during the live stream. It's like going to a buffet and just take what you want, leave the rest. When it comes to anybody that's speaking out there, as far as truth is concerned, I think the problem stems where people just want to take in information and not actually process it and just absorb it all and just not have to think of what's right, what's wrong, what's disinfo. And they're being lazy. They don't want to have putting the discernment, putting the time in to actually do any research. And that's the problem with people that initially were, like, for example, mainstream people watching the mainstream media, and they just absorb things. So when they go into the truth realm, they do the same thing. They're just absorbing things without wanting to process it and digest it and come to their own conclusion. And that's what needs to be understood is, again, I said it a million times, no two people agree on everything. And again, just listen to everybody and take what can be proven and leave the rest type of thing. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just listen to the shows that you enjoy. And I have no problem. If you don't enjoy my content or you think I'm wrong, then just don't watch it. It's that easy. It really is that easy. And I believe that on so many accounts that we can police ourselves. That's why I hate YouTube censorship and that. Because if people don't like what you're saying, then they won't watch you. It's that easy. If there's a guy out there who's got a channel who's telling me that fairies actually exist and they run the world and that they are then if I watch that channel, I would just say, you know what? I don't resonate with any of that. I don't really think I haven't seen any evidence of fairies, and I would just not watch that channel. Period. Yeah. It's that easy. Police ourselves.
Yeah, and I said it also with Jason on his channel during the stream. As your channel grows larger, you have a larger following. On the opposite end, of course, you're gonna have a lot more haters. That's just part of it. I guess it was 2017. I had a very large channel, or a couple very large channels, and I was getting a lot of grief from all angles, and actually made number one shill, a flat earth shill on YouTube. I made the number. There was a top 10. I made number one, according to some guy in the UK.
I remember somebody made that video. I was on there too. I was like number 7.
Yeah.
Did I make the list?
I don't think you were around at that time yet, or you weren't a big enough name now. Now you would definitely make it.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at, guys, is this. It's getting really, it's enough's enough with it. Like I said, I talked to David about this before. I used to get involved with this nonsense years ago, and it's just when you start making these so-called hit pieces on people and go in that direction, it never ends up good. It's just a huge distraction. It takes away from, of course, being very productive in what someone wants to do, and it's basically childish and just want to sort of to go away. It's always going to be here to some degree, but it'd be nice if it's kept to a minimum. And that definitely we already have issues with people outside, the Globers, and now you have the infighting. There's going to be a certain extent of it. Sometimes, I don't want to say it, but sometimes certain people need to be called out on occasion, but for the most part, we really need to stick to speaking the truth and getting the information out there. And again, it's a lot of wasted time when people are doing this kind of stuff, and it's just taking steps back, of course.
Harvey, it happens to all of us, including you and I, where sometimes we'll think someone's a shill, and then we find out they're not. And there's other people. It happens all the time. There's people that have come after you and I, and now are big fans of ours or peers of ours.
Yeah.
So you just got to watch it. For example, Daniel Pratt. He went after a lot of people. He thought I was a shill. All this stuff. And now we're buddies. I think we're buddies. Maybe I'm an idiot. But he's been doing some rants. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow on the app, I've got a video I made with a Daniel Pratt rant, which I think is excellent. So
I saw that.
Actually, I made it better. I actually changed it just before the show. It's going to blow Starlink away.
Yeah. Well, I like what he said, Daniel Pratt with the, we don't see, the so-called falling stars going upward any other direction, but coming down or, towards ground level. So, it was a good rant and all. And, that's something.
This is a new one. No, a new one.
Okay, I know. I'm just saying as I saw that one, but what I'm getting at is things like that when you share someone's work that maybe potentially someone looks at you as, quote, a shill. But when you share their work and you shine them in a positive light, and the thing is, what it comes down to is this: it's usually the people with very small channels, not much of a following. They get very frustrated because they're not getting any attention. So sometimes people act like babies and start attacking people because they're not getting the proper attention. And of course, having someone's name, a bigger name, in the title of a video will draw attention. So. I experienced that, many, many other times over the years. So it's part of the, it's part of the deal with being on YouTube and speaking the truth and again getting your name out there. And then you expect to get attacked, especially when you do good work. When you do good work and you're on target. For example, not to toot my own horn, but when I made that the Star Trail videos, and I know it was a good video. I don't mean to say that. I knew I was going to get attacked. And sure enough, here comes all these hit pieces on that video. That means it's a good video, and the Globers got to try to break it down type of thing. So that's what happens, when you do good work, you're going to get attacked.
I got PsyOp Man Dan did a video on me the last few days. I'm getting hammered with comments that will never see the light of day because I'm a heavily censored channel. And I just have to go through and delete them before, because they're all on approval. But whatever, it is what it is. I like what Jeran says. Just take what you like, leave what you don't like. I rarely give anyone a thumbs down. Like, I won't even give a video I hate a thumbs down unless it's like a stream that you're doing and you can't get the screen sharing working for 20 minutes. Then you get a thumbs down.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, but again, it's just this, again, it's sad when we have issues trying to get the truth out and battling the Globers. Guys like Baller Dave, trolls like that.
Worse.
Worse guy. And again, the infighting, all the infighting, and we should live and learn and move beyond that. And I think that the best course of action is moving forward. A message to everybody out there: if you have an issue with someone, or you think this or that about them, why don't you just confront them and talk to them? Try to get a hold of them first. Say, hey, I have an issue. Let's talk. Go that route instead of maybe just attacking someone out of nowhere, maybe ambush style, and try to get things resolved. There's a lot of conjecture. Someone, you might get an older photo of someone or hear something that's not true and come to a false conclusion based on false information. It's just like Richie from Boston and I had some issues, and it was over some troll saying I called him a fraud, which I didn't. And, Richie's been, he apologized because he kind of lashed out and he realized it wasn't true. So, it's basically narrowing it down to is, cooler heads prevail type of thing and not get involved in the nonsense. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard when you put a lot of time and effort and energy into your channel and then you get attacked. Of course, the first reaction is to defend yourself. And I totally understand that. I've done that. But sometimes it's best to just ignore. It's not easy, but that's probably the best route to go. Again, just to. But again, it's. I think it's productive to bring this up. Moving forward, it's not something we want to harp on, but it's something that definitely needs to be addressed.
The other thing that I think's important, and I know I'm not alone in this. I know Jason agrees with this and would do the same. But I'm all for anybody who has a smaller channel to reach out to me on Skype. You can search Jeranism Truth. If you have something that you want to present on my channel, I'm all for that. I did it with Swazzers. I did it with a few other people. Look what Alex Stein did. The guy started a channel. He just started doing and we had him on the show last week. So these are things I never had the opportunity to do. When I first made YouTube, there wasn't anybody who had a channel significantly bigger than mine that said, hey, Jeran, you want to put together a 45-minute PowerPoint presentation? Come on my channel, present, and get yourself some subscribers. I would have been all for it, but I never had that opportunity. So I'm okay with offering that, and I know Jason does that with people come on his show, people that join him in Crow. If you've got something good to say and you've got something good to present, we're here to help get that information out. I mean, am I alone in that one, guys?
All you got to do is ask.
Yeah. So
yeah. The way I see it, Jeran, that's fantastic that you would offer that, and definitely. What I see is it's a lot of the, the big names, quote, big names out there representing, say, Flat Earth, for the longest time. It's good to see new blood come in. And part of that is helping these channels that are doing good work and propping them up and helping them get established. Making sure, of course, they're doing solid work and, not putting out disinfo. Of course, there could be unintentional disinfo, but someone's doing really good work and they have good passion, I definitely give them a boost. And, it's definitely good to have more people out there doing this work, specifically on Flat Earth.
The other thing I have to say is, Dave, I don't know if you got the same thing. I got 3 or 4 people who actually reached out to me in some way or another to tell me that they thought that Alex Stein was annoying. So I just want to say something to people that I don't know how you have, I'm not going to mention anybody by name, but I don't know how you have the time to reach out and tell me that. When I present somebody and I say, hey, here's a guy who's doing good work, go check out his channel. If you don't like his channel, then just don't watch it. Why would
He's super annoying. That's why I love him.
Why would you take the time to message me that? I would never message somebody and say, all right, guys, we'll be right back with more calls.
A price too large, as if we're really just born to die. I'd rather not be born. Stay in school, they saying. Use your tools, they saying. But being
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Ann, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
Travis Cook, America's Evil Genius, here to invite you to join us every Tuesday afternoon here on Truth Frequency Radio. No, on our show you will not see a bunch of three-piece suits or a cocktail party, and you certainly won't see a bunch of inside the Beltway banter. But you will see eye-gouging, crotch-kicking, no-holds-barred political discussion, the likes of which you won't see anywhere else in media. America's Evil Genius. We come to you every Tuesday from the outskirts of war-torn St. Louis, Missouri, where there's always a good race rider sex scandal just around the corner. Join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, and noon on the left coast right here on TFRLive.com. America's Evil Genius, Travis Cook on TruthFrequencyRadio.com.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism RAW, and just so I can close out my point there, what I was trying to say before the break was don't message me to tell me you think somebody I recommended is annoying. If RV says, hey, Jeran, go check out Flat Donnie, he's a great channel, or Jason said, check out Brian Stavely, Jeran, awesome channel, I would never in a million years email them and say, just to tell them that I think that the channel they recommended is annoying. It's just, I don't have the time to do that. I'd watch it, I'd say, I don't like this guy. All right, move on.
Jeran, I would say this, I think what it comes down to, it's fantastic. There's so many different personalities involved with truth, and again, specifically Flat Earth. Not everybody's going to be a fan of mine or yours or David, but, it's a matter of getting as many people out there as possible, putting this truth out there, and everybody has their favorites type of thing. And some people might look at, Alex Stein as a crazy man. I think he's entertaining. It's just like, like I said, everybody out there, they have their own likes and dislikes. It's, it's all subjective, type of thing. But again, it's so important. There's more people like Alex coming out there and putting the work in.
Right. Alex just put out a 2-hour plus video interview with a black man who I say is Alex's twin. And it's hysterical and it's awesome. The two of them going back and forth with each other, I thought it was great. I was like, oh man, 2.5 hours, whatever it was. And I listened to the whole thing. It was awesome.
Yeah, and I'd rather listen to someone like, Alex Stein, Conspiracy Castle, than someone that's monotone, boring. I like a little personality, a little entertainment to go with truth. That's just me, but everybody's different, like I said.
Yeah, I like it too. I need a little comedy. Sometimes it gets to be too much, so I like a little comedy, and I like somebody who can make me laugh, and I like to watch an RV video and get a couple chuckles in there, as he says over and over again. Give me a break. Every time you say it, you got me busting up laughing. So I need that. I need that from people. It can't be too serious to me.
My favorite thing with RV is, I'm going to be honest with you, he says. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm like, so unless I hear you say that, you're not being honest with me.
Yeah, exactly. You should know that, David. You know that.
The best thing is, the phone will ring. It's 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and he goes, "Hey, Dave, sorry to call early. This will just be a minute." I like
an hour later,
an hour and a half later, right? I'm like, it's good though. We have good conversations. Any calls? I bet. Alex Stein is probably on the line.
But first, we have. Does he realize how annoying he is? No. Rose was going to say something. Rose, before we get to the phones, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to point out that I had thought about this metaphor that a lot of podcast hosts, they just have these strong personalities, and it's only natural that sometimes they would clash. And it reminds me of way, way, way back in the day when I was into boxing, and my trainer, his name was Ron, and he had a partner, and they had some kind of falling out before I got there. And I was really close with Ron, and I thought he was the best teacher ever, and we got matching tattoos and stuff. And then unfortunately, he passed away. And then after that, I really wanted to, stay within the community, and I went to Mike, the old business partner, and I called on the phone first, and I said, yeah, well, I used to box with Ron, blah, 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 and I thought it was going to be like drama because Ron was kind of dramatic, and he was like, oh, great, cool, come on down. So I go on down there, and I meet with Mike, who I thought was just this dreaded foe, and guess what, guys? He had a picture of Ron on his wall, and he was doing this cool fighting stance with his leg in the air, and it just warmed my heart, and I realized that that just was a huge lesson learned. I was like, oh, I thought that you guys had this falling out. He's like, oh, he was a great fighter, and yeah, we didn't get along about some things, but I'm really proud to have known him. And I was like, I want to be a Mike, and I don't want to be a Ron, even though I love you, Ron, up there in heaven, wherever you are. But you know what I mean? It was a huge, boom, lesson learned.
I love those lessons. Dave, did you say Alex is on hold?
No, I just assume he is because he calls in every week.
No, I don't see him tonight.
Maybe not.
He's busy with Sky Bear watching.
Sky Bear, I have to let the people know.
All right, let's go to the phone and see what's going on. 513, you're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. RV, Jason, Rose. What's up?
Hi.
Hello.
It's Grace from... Hi, it's Grace from Ohio. Can you hear me?
What's up, Grace?
Hi. Okay, so I had this idea.
Wait, are you Little Dancing Bear or no?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Nice to finally talk to you.
Yeah, you too. This is awesome. Okay, so I had this idea, and I'm not sure if it's brilliant or kind of stupid, but so you know how in Disney movies they'll hide pictures or obscene words and stuff. Right. So I was thinking, why don't they maybe they could just like hide stuff in the music too. Because the more I learned about like frequencies and harmonies and stuff, the more important it seems. So, seems like an interesting idea.
RV?
Oh boy.
Uh-huh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
There is that stuff.
There's more hidden stuff in music than there is music, I think.
And a lot of it's subliminal, and we would never even be able to detect it, probably.
I mean, there's
exactly.
the
I
words
don't
alone,
know anything about this.
The videos. If you look at what's going on in the videos, the costumes that they wear, the backwards masking, everything. It's all subliminal messages and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's what
and also.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just like doing a little bit of research, and Mickey Mouse. Like I never grew up with Disney, so thank goodness. But Mickey Mouse is literally a conductor. Like he conducts music. Like I don't know, electricity, trains. Hello, Freemasonry. He's like a wizard.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sounds like Fantasia to me.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thanks, Grace.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call. The RV comment on it here.
Yeah.
Speaking of hidden things, you guys all saw my watermelon video?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So if you watch it again, though, look in the background. Lots of hidden things in plain sight.
Yes, the flat Earth, of course.
There's a deflated globe. There's a whole bunch of conspiracy books back there, flat Earth books. There's a dome, all sorts of stuff. I figured, why not?
Yeah, again, Freemasonry is learning how to communicate without speaking. And that's what they've done over the years so many times, is putting things in the background. Look in the background. That's where, it's going to be at. And again, I got to be careful what I say here, but certain events, like in Connecticut when someone comes out, father comes out smiling and laughing, that's a way of communicating without speaking, just telling you, hey, everybody, this is just a bunch of BS, without saying with the words, but just telling you. And this, people say, oh, look, they caught him. No, that was meant to happen. It was meant to happen that way. And they won that controversy with people that spot it and calling it out, and the people that just say, oh, people grieve differently, that type of thing. So, yeah, they want to, people talk about conspiracies. Of course, these people run this world, they're behind it all, obviously, and they love to, put it all out there. And, like with every event, I got to be careful. I don't know if I got to be careful what I talk about here as far as the George F. Casket, where it looks like, I don't want to say it, but it's basically built for a midget. It's this small little coffin, and where's his legs going to go? So they do this. They do these little things, again, without saying. It's right in front of your face, like where things don't add up, and people point it out, and people are going to rationalize. Of course, the mainstream people, the people that believe everything that's presented on TV, they're just going to rationalize everything that's presented, and there's really no talking to them, or they're just whatever. Like again, whatever you point out, they're just going to rationalize.
Yep. Let's go to 757. You're on the air. What's up?
Hello, this is Mr. Kilwell, 45 years experience of being black and longtime flat earther. I have three quick points and a question. I'll try to be extremely quick, Jared. Extremely quick. I know you like quick. One, space. I think space is a government triggering word. Two, Jesse the Surveyor is now attacking J.T. Nolan. I mean, he just likes to attack anybody and everybody. We need to get him on Globebusters and debate him hard. And the question I have is there anything on the horizon to further flat Earth? Like, for example, newer debates with high visible globers or something like that. One last thing. I apologize. One last thing. Do not support Wikipedia because they info tag flat Earth videos. So that's all I have. Thank you, Jeran. Thank you, everybody. RV, I would love to see your face. I'd love to see your face, guy. But hey, thanks for taking my call, and thanks for all you do. I'm out of here.
Appreciate that. Thanks so much. First of all, yeah, I totally agree. Space is definitely a trigger word. It is a government propaganda. It's the same as Narnia. They can make up anything they want about it. It's just this empty slate that people have bought into, that you could say anything you want about. You can say Uranus releases gas every day and have funny jokes about it, and you can say these galaxies are this distance and they're doing this, and there's planets where it rains sideways diamonds and people go ooh and ah and they love it, and they never use their rational brain to think, hey, these things probably don't exist. It's probably just the Earth that exists. It was created for us, and everything we see around us is a sky clock meant to keep times and symbols. As far as Jesse, I didn't know that. You're talking about Jesse Kozlowski is going after Jay Tolan. I don't put it past Kozlowski. That guy's off his rocker. As far as things on the horizon to push flat Earth or newer debates, I'm not really sure about that one. I mean, we've kind of gotten to the point where, there's still Austins out there debating people. I don't think the debates go very far. I think you have people on both sides that are there to kind of root on their team, but I don't think it's really changing a lot of minds. I could be wrong about that. I used to get involved in that, and I just realized nobody's changing their mind. Everybody on the flat side says, yeah, you nailed it. Everybody on their side thinks they won. But just because you have a debate, RV and I could have a debate about what color the sky is, and I could put forth a really good argument for a certain color, and he could do a bad job at putting forth the blue color, and that doesn't mean that the sky color changes. To me, it's the sky's.
Jeran, I want to just jump in here real quick. I know you want to take some more calls, but real quickly, I mean, things we want to point out to people and wake them up. It's not going to happen in an hour, 2-hour conversation. It's not going to happen in a 24/7 conversation where it goes on for a week, 2 weeks. There's so much information to process and digest. So it's like there's no one thing that's going to get these people to see this truth. And it's like really it's something it's almost like going to school where it's a long process to get to where we're at. So that's the frustrating part. To expect people to get it right away, it's just not going to happen that way.
No, it's a long indoctrination, right? I mean, to get people to the point where they've bought into this space. I mean, it takes putting a globe in every children's bedroom, in every movie, in every video you've ever seen, and every commercial, and every logo. That stuff is just ingrained in people so much to the point, and I've talked about it before, everything in your life changes. Your parents, maybe they're going to pass away or they got divorced. You live in a different house than you grew up in. You went to different schools, different teachers. But the one thing that stays true is that ball Earth. They've made sure that you hold on to that. So when somebody comes along saying you don't live on a ball, it's just some people, they just can't give it up. And the people who can see, flat Earth isn't for everyone. There's people out there that are actually looking for the truth, seeking the creator. Those are the people that will eventually find it. So RV's totally right. I'm not going to convince you. People always come to me, what's your best proof of the flat Earth? I said, go watch one of my 550 videos. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, all of them have proofs in them. So I can't just make up one. I could say we see too far, but even that, I mean, it's like there's so much beyond that. It takes people a long time.
Yeah. People don't want to do the work. They want you to tell them one thing in 1 minute that's going to convince them 100%. And nobody's going to be able to string together a sentence.
We were taught that you sit in a desk and there's some lady who stands at the front or some guy, and they give you all the truth, and then your job is simply to be able to read it back. That's how you become smart in the world. They've taught people that. And then those people who excel at that go on and get degrees, and they become teachers and they become professors. That's the world that we live in. So the people who question the stuff that they're taught, the stuff that they're told, those people they don't become anything in life because that's not the way the system's set up.
I think we're getting to a point, though, where people are starting to get interested. This interview I'm doing with CBS, who knows where that can go? I mean, it could go south, hopefully not. But it could reach a lot of people, and people will start seeing the censorship and start looking. I have local friends that, they all know I'm very public now on my views of the world. And if I'm with somebody, they'll say, hey, tell me about this flat Earth thing. Go ahead. I'm like, I got 5 minutes. I'm like, nope. I'm like, nope.
Thanks for your generosity.
I'll say, if you want, we'll go spend a day together. And we'll have a couple beers, and I'll tell you all about it. but people are getting ready. People are hearing it enough again and again and again and again, where they're starting to get ready to listen. And when you tell them no, then they're going to come back and go, okay, now I've got 20 minutes, and I still say no. Right. I'm saying, give me an hour. We'll start with that.
We've also heard from so many people that tell you that I heard you at first, I thought you were crazy. I'm sure RV's heard it a million times.
Yeah, more than I can count, and that's the whole thing. Is that's why I always have that frame of mind when I do video presentations. Keep it to the point. Keep it concise, because a lot of people don't have much time. So you want to I get right to the information. I mean, it's for example, you do a live stream podcast. You cover many topics, but when it comes to video presentations, I try my best to get right to the point and try to capture someone right away. And not have 3 or 4 minutes of just fluff. It's really wasting time. You want to make a first impression, capture someone. You got to do that. And that's what I really emphasize.
Speak my language.
That's Dave's favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brian Staveley's intros are longer than 5 of my videos put together.
Yeah. That's so very important. And again. Each of us, propping each other up, helping each other out, maybe, for example, Jeran or David have, really good strong points in one aspect of the flat earth, and, others having, a strong aspect somewhere else. And, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. But again, all of us together, putting this information out there. And what's great to see is we're still at it, basically 5 years after this run of flat earth, and it's just, of course, getting larger, and more and more people are waking up to it. And definitely, I said, back in 2015, this is not going to go away. It's just going to grow and grow, and you're going to hear celebrities talking about it. That's exactly what happened. Unfortunately, a lot of them flip-flopped, which ticked me off, but it got out. The information got out there, and people are, of course, looking at it. And here's the thing is, too, I should mention this earlier. My Star Trails video, Bob the Science Guy, which I'll do a follow-up video on. He's covered it, and I'm going to really, again, cover that, what he said, or a response video to that, is his goons have showed up on my channel, and they have nothing but insults when they arrive. That's all they have are insults and these smart aleck remarks, and they don't bring anything to the table of substance to debunk anything. And one thing I'll say real quickly about Bob the Science Guy, when I talked about, in my video about Star Trails, I get into the topic of how do they know what's in the core of the so-called ball Earth when, the furthest they drilled down was less than 8 miles. And, he goes on talking about instruments that can, validate what they claim. I'm like, basically, when he said that, I'm like, if so-called these scientists said there's grape jelly in the center of the Earth, they will just believe it. That's how how ridiculous these people are, just to believe whatever science says. They're just gonna believe it and just promote it as fact. It's never been, of course, verified. But these special instruments they have supposedly detects this, so it must be true.
When they were digging the Great Borehole, they were wrong the entire way down to that 8 miles. They're like, oh, that's it. There's no more water below here. Oh, there's water. All right, we're gonna hit this next. Nope, they were wrong the whole way down the 8 miles, and then they hit that impenetrable barrier. But now they know everything that's below that. It's utter nonsense.
These hoaxes are everywhere. I mean, I don't know if you guys have looked into the whole idea of the atom. The atom to me is ridiculous, and people believe that we've seen it. Go ahead and look it up. Try and find a picture of the atom. Nobody's seen it, and then they tell you what's going on inside of it, Dave. That there's electrons and neutrons, and they orbit the nucleus. And people buy this. They think, yeah, we know what's going on inside of an atom, even though an atom is the smallest thing that can possibly exist. So how could you know what's inside of it? But it's because they tell you they know, and people just buy it. Same thing with they know what's going on in galaxy. Squinting. Squinting does it. Should we try and take another call?
Yeah, one more.
Okay, 208. You're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this? 208.
Hello.
What's up?
Hi, guys. This is Cindy from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And It looks like we're running out of time, so I'll make it really fast. First of all, I love you all. Subscribe to all y'all. And except for this Baller Dave guy that I subscribe to, I question that decision.
Yeah, smart decision.
But you guys, you're talking about Idaho last week, I think it was, last Monday.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to let you know what we experienced here was the guys got a rumor that they were busting in some troublemakers, and so they all got their AK rifles and walked down to our main street, beautiful little Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and lined the streets. This beautiful, brave men, and nothing happened, and it was wonderful.
I love that. That's what should be going on everywhere.
I know. It was a good feeling, like when we watched you go to Sacramento and how beautiful the demonstrations were. It was that feeling. There's some hope for our little town. And
the only difference is if I would have carried an AK-47, I would have been shot. That's why living in California sucks.
Not up here.
No, that's what's great. That's why, and I even heard a couple people messaged me and said they're looking to buy land up there. So, how is it living there? You like it?
Yeah. Escaped California, Southern California, about since 2005, and never regretted a minute. It's just a beautiful, free place. Just lovely. You should look into it. I recommend it highly. Anyway, I'll let you guys go.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you for all you do.
Thanks so much for the call. All right. Dave, do you have to get to bed, or do you want to do an after show?
How dare you?
Half hour?
I could do a half hour.
Anybody else? Can we do a half hour?
I'm down.
All right.
RV, can you do a half hour?
I know the answer already.
RV can't do a half hour. He's got to do like 3 hours.
8 hours.
Right. I got to eventually eat, but anyway, so people want to follow the after show, go over to D-Live. We'll be there. He can talk all the George F he wants, the Black Floyd, Pink Floyd, whatever. Yeah, Pink Floyd. Let's try one more call. And like I said, so everybody on YouTube, go to D-Live at the end of this, which will be ending. And if you're listening on TFR, do the same, dlive.tv/Jeranism. Let's go to somebody else in Idaho, I believe. 208. You're on with Jeran DITRH RAW. What's up?
Hey, Jason. Hey, Dave and Rose. I had two things real quick. I got a reply for my notice of non-consent of COVID-19 from the city of Boise.
Okay. How'd that go? What'd they say?
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting read. They said that voluntary compliance is always their goal. It was their one of the best warnings that they described the situation with. And then the other thing was that there are stages of communist takeover, and we're currently in the crisis stage. And this was published on YouTube from, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago by this guy named Europe. I don't even know how to say his last name. It's BEZMENOV. And if you just search leftists are useful idiots, it brings it up, and he goes through the 4 stages of a communist takeover, which are demoralization, destabilization, crisis, and normalization. So this new normal is what they're putting.
Oops. Sorry about that. I dumped him because if I don't, then he'll be on to the end of the show. But yeah, we'll check that out. So yeah, people on Raw, on YouTube, or at TFR, head over to dlive.tv/Jeranism. And we will see you guys over there in a second. Dave, I'm going to call you, and then we'll add everybody to the call.
Okay.
Anybody, any final words? Of course, follow RV. You can find his new channel, RV Truth, RV Space Truth. Of course, you know where you can find Jason at Secrets of Saturn YouTube channel, and also at Crow with 2 R's, 777. And then Rose has her awesome show on Rose Space 777. See you guys on the other side. It's been fun. Till next week. Peace.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number one source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Geo, X Squared with Brooks Agnew, Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas, Jeranism RAW with Jeran and Missa, Fearless with Frank Castle, Strange World with Mark Sargent, The Eye of Ra with Ra Castaldo, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray, Ironworks with Josh Corey, The Kev Baker Show, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Threatening federal action. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says he's watching what's going on in the occupied area of Seattle closely.
It is exactly 1 week since the Seattle Police Department left the East Precinct here, and these protesters moved in to occupy what they now call the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest Zone. There seems to be no political will for either the governor of Washington State, Jay Inslee, or the mayor of Seattle, Jenny Durkan, to take any action to end this protest at the moment.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in Seattle. The president didn't lay out any specifics or a timeline of any action he would take. An emotional plea for change from the family of a black man who was shot during a scuffle with Atlanta police Friday night. Rayshard Brooks' niece, Chastity Evans, on what her uncle meant to her.
Not only was he a girl dad, he was a loving husband, caring brother, and most importantly to me, an uncle I could depend on.
The officer who shot Brooks was fired. The other officer involved was placed on administrative duty. Atlanta's police chief resigned over the incident. President Trump threatening legal action against his former national security advisor over a tell-all book.
President Trump says it's highly inappropriate for former national security advisor John Bolton to publish a book about his time in the White House, suggesting it might be illegal if the manuscript contains classified information.
I will consider every conversation with me as president highly classified. So that would mean that if he wrote a book and if the book gets out, he's broken the law.
Bolton's memoir, The Room Where It Happened, is scheduled to be released next week. Bolton's lawyers have accused the White House of using national security to censor Bolton after a lengthy review process. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
America is listening to Fox News.
The last few months have taught us what's important in life. It's also taught
wherever you are. Make it guaranteed. Truth Frequency Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Truth Frequency Radio. You are now listening to The Matrix Unveiled. Alright, about to get started in a couple seconds. Live on YouTube. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Am I too loud?
No, you're good. Prepare to evolve your consciousness. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. My name is Dhanuj, and I'm the creator of The Matrix Unveiled. And today we have an incredible show for you guys. We are The Last Airbenders. I have two guests with me. Right now we actually only have Corey, which is a good friend that I've known for quite a while. Say hello, Corey. What's up?
Hey, how are you guys? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you. It's been a while since we've talked, and it's really rare that you find someone that's on your vibe. But Corey's definitely someone that's in that higher vibrational space. Someone that has a lot of knowledge, and you also train aerokinesis, which is really cool to me. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to the channel and to the viewers.
Well, hello, channel, and hello, viewers. I have been, I think we've known each other for a few years now. I've been doing aerokinesis, I'd say, with conscious intention for about 2.5, almost 3 now.
I think they're saying that they can't hear you right now. So is your audio set up?
Me.
No worries. There's always a few glitches.
Yeah, happens. How's the audio?
Okay, yeah. So let me know, guys, if the audio is working now. For Corey, I know it's working for myself. Let's see what's going on here. We will just wait.
Yeah, let me know if it's up.
Okay, I'm gonna check the stream. Very strange.
Not surprising.
You can hear him or you can't hear him, Haska. You might want to just try leaving the studio on StreamYard and then joining back in.
Okay.
Sometimes it glitches out. So while Corey is setting that up, I will simply, carry on with the show. So now you guys can see me in full. So I'm glad everyone's here and excited to talk. I have some, aerokinesis practitioners, some energy practitioners that are going to be joining me tonight. My friend Zen the One, who is he's an artist, he's a musician. He will be joining us later tonight, and Corey as well, once he sets up his audio. We're going to have a really, really a great show, and it's going to be just, us speaking and vibing. We had a great show off camera. When we were talking, a great conversation. So what's up to everyone? What's up, Elay? What's up? Haska, how you doing? How you doing, Electric Mammal, which is Surge? What's up, Surge? Working? Yes, I think it should be working now. Okay, cool. So I think that they should be able to hear you now. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone?
Hey, I'm Corey. I've known you for probably about 3 years now. Been practicing aerokinesis consciously for about 3. So it's been quite an interesting journey. I've been doing psychic work and energy healing, as well as frequency transmissions for higher since about 2016, and just training before that. So it's been quite something.
You're definitely out there, energy wise.
It's been good. I'd say my biggest success for clients to date, what I do is I work on manipulating natural law, and it's not manipulating, it's gaining favor of natural law in order to organizing natural law, if you would, in order to benefit my clients. Mm-hmm. My biggest one was there was a CEO and CFO of an engineering corporation who was starting their own corporation, and it started at about $200K a year, and we got it just the last couple of years to be over $1 million. So that has been the monetary highlight of the work, which has it's been good. It's been really good.
That's really incredible. So, this is proof, guys, that you can literally create your own reality. Would you say that you created this kind of job? Because what is the title of your job? Is that even what kind of title would you put on something like that?
I feel like even calling it psychic's an insult at this point.
Reality engineer.
Really, something along those lines. And I'm like, because you have to go there's an entire hierarchy of divine order and of beings that run, manage, and operate this reality. And in order to do that yourself, you have to know all of them, connect with all of them, and be all of them, essentially. Yeah. So it's, I guess, reality engineer would be a good one.
Reality engineer. Matrix programmer is another good word,
Yeah, love that. For sure.
So I remember I saw this picture that you posted on Facebook a long time ago. I know we talked about this a few times, but it was this picture of you in a rock. I think it was just a rock or something, and it was like you said, my training spot. And I commented I feel the beings around you, the ones that are protecting you.
Yes, that it's called the Maha rock. You know how in Vedic traditions they use Maha,
Okay.
But we call it the Maha rock because a group, myself and about 40 other clairvoyants, came to that rock in the February of 2019 to invoke and charge a deity in it. So there's that deity, if you look at it energetically, it's about 36,000 square feet now. And it's located at a rock in the middle of Lakma. And this rock is about 14 feet in diameter all the way around. It's you can always Google, Lakma Maha Rock, and it'll be there.
So what kind of other stuff do you do with, with energy and with your training?
I do a lot of physical healings for people. So, as well as creating, not just creating the monetary system, but the physical system that you need. So for me, things like curing STDs, people are like, oh my God, STD is incurable. I'm like, it's horse shit. Anything man-made can be broken down. It's just so like, for instance, I can give you a little insight. When you look at the cells, sorry, the camera's doing it backwards. When you look at the cells and you look inside of them and you find the frequency of the virus or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, so it's like an opera singer. When an opera singer wants to shatter a glass, he or she has to hit the voice at a certain frequency, an exact hertz, because everything operates at a hertz. So it has to hit it at an exact hertz in order to overload the frequency in the cellular matrix of the glass in order to shatter it, right? So what you do to a virus is the exact same thing. You transmit the correct frequency to the virus, overloading the reality matrix of the virus in order to shatter it, for instance. So I've had multiple successful cases with that, many other different ailments as well. So I find that one to be the most fascinating, because people are like, oh, anyone can, the people who believe anyone can have anything monetarily. I'm like, yeah, but you also don't believe that STDs can be removed. So it's a good way to show that there really is no limits, whether it's inside you physically or the world you want to create around you.
That's so true. It's so good to hear someone talk about, really achieving abundance in their life and really just manifesting their reality. You're someone that I could definitely consider to be, an ancient soul, not an old soul, but an ancient soul.
My entire computer's glitching. That's hilarious. Great.
Oh man, yeah.
I know. I recently, I think about like 6 months ago, I fried the electrical star. I got too excited. If I get all excited, things start going like that and freaking out.
Yeah, that is 100% relatable. And that's like, we got to control our emotions. We got to be really calm. So I'm trying my best right now too, to stay calm and just like not super, passionate or excited, because then our energy spikes and we just destroy everything.
Yes, seriously. I watch out for light bulbs wherever I go. I think, what was it? I got really upset. It was like when one of those, where you're like, the universe is like testing you, like, can you handle this? And you're getting really fucking annoyed because you're like, I can handle it. Just fucking give it to me. And then all of a sudden, like, the elevator I'm in just stops and you're like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that.
Yeah,
so
it's interesting stuff.
You're also an actor, which is really interesting.
I have been acting. Sorry, I was looking at something going on over there. I have been acting. I acted from about 6 to 13. I was on Fox, did different commercials for Disney, and worked with like a 90s, 80s celebrity named Gina Davis. So she was bigger in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s. And I did a show with her. And then from there, I went and I was like, okay, I need a break. There's a lot of family shit going on, a lot of crazy stuff there. And then I was, took time to really get to know my system, traveled a bit, and then I was getting the direction that it's time to come back. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And so I was one of those people who like never stayed in the same place longer than maybe 2 or 3 months. And it was interesting whether I went to Japan, Greece, like the Rastafarian part of Jamaica where it's like no tourists, no English, Mexico. I was in Russia for just briefly, and then it's been interesting. It's been interesting, but they're like, Corey, it's time to park your ass in LA, and I'm like, okay. And from there,
how do you deal with LA? Because the energies in LA are just so well. I don't know how they are, but I'm just guessing from what I've seen.
There's a lot of them.
Very negative and chaotic. You know, there's a lot of like mix.
There is a mix. It's interesting because you have people who are very high vibrational here, and then you have, a strip club next door to their apartment, and you're just like, okay. So it's almost we're needed here in order to create what needs to be created in the world. Because I always go, Hollywood is like it's a cell tower. It's the most powerful exporting frequency in the world right now.
That's so true.
So it's like it needs light there. And you'll notice it even in the matrix system around it. You'll see there'll be a strip club one area, and then right next door will be a church. And then down the street will be a psychic center. And then down the street will be like, what is it? Maharishi's center. And then you'll have Yogananda's center. And then you'll have something sketchy again.
Yeah.
And then
like
so then
like
you'll
a
have
bar or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like a bar, and then you'll have the CNN building, and you'll be like, oh, okay, because like, and then you'll have Netflix next to that, and it's just all trying to balance itself out.
So it's like the Matrix is glitching, like how like it does that balancing algorithm. So where it's super negative, there's always a super positive on the other side, and it has to like maintain that balance. But LA is like this mix of all that stuff, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah, and my hope is one day it overloads itself. And I was thinking, and I was getting the message. I was like, they're like, duality doesn't exist. Not really.
Right.
And I was like, okay, tell me more. What are you... Within, I believe, the next few decades, not 3, maybe 6 to 8, our goal is to work. Right now, it's probably like a 56-44, 56% good, 44% bad kind of thing, and then that kind of switches off and on. They take each other's place. But what I was being told is the direction we're supposed to go up in is supposed to start shooting for 80-20. That could take 100 years, 300 years, could take 6 decades, but it made sense when I walk outside and I look at everything trying to overload each other. I'm like, okay, that's where it's in the fetal moments of that, the fetus part of it.
Yeah, I think the polarity is definitely being switched right now. So it's right now all the negative is coming up, so that way it can be purged out of the system, and then we can basically reset back to a more positive matrix balance, which is less negative. And so we act as like, alchemists or transmuters of frequencies. So, you being put in LA makes total sense to me. You're a high vibrational being. You're always transmuting energy, and I'm sure that gets draining for you sometimes, but you probably learn to protect your energy. We were talking about this earlier. Share with me about your protection and then what kind of protection you use with your energy.
It's a lot, actually. It's been very different. So it's many, many layers. Sometimes I use different initiations that I've had into different energy fields that are harder to access without that initiation. And when you do, you can't bring in as much. So I've worked with different Vedic masters in India, and I've gotten well over 100 different initiations from them, as well as many different others. And there's a certain level of protection that comes just from that interesting. An initiation is just, it's just a doorway opening. It's like a passcode. Not like I'm better than you because I had that sort of thing. Just like it's just an energy field that opened up. through that. So, but I noticed just from that, my field naturally starts to protect itself. But before that, it'll depend on the situation. Some things, it's, the violet flame of Saint Germain, I really, really enjoy playing with. It's a very transmutive energy. So it takes whatever's there and it starts twisting it and turning it and burning it up and turning it into something good for you. Mm-hmm. And then I work with a lot of gold. I don't particularly enjoy working with white for protection because white is that's an open door.
Better. Yeah.
Gold works way better. White is an open door. I've had somebody who was like, I keep wrapping myself up in white and I keep getting these entities and these different invasions and people trying to put implants in me. And I'm like, white is an open doorway.
Yeah. So for everyone that's wondering, we're talking about visualizing different kinds of colors within your energy field, because we kind of we're talking about that without saying that. So
yeah, it's taking the frequency of white or the vibration of white.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's a terrible idea. Don't use
horrible. White. I was like, what are you doing? No.
Yeah, we just jumped into that conversation, and I don't think anyone else was following. The Saint Germain one though, that I've used before. I don't use it anymore, but gold. I imagine the sun around me. That is super powerful. That is like one of the most powerful techniques, in my opinion.
Yeah, I use a lot of mirrors as well.
Yes,
mirrors are great. Rubber's great. So it's like visualizing the almost like a gold rubber ball around your whole auric field.
Yeah.
And then having an internal, and having something else inside of it also wrapped around you. But that one's very, very fun. I like that one. But there's a lot. And sometimes if you work with angels, for instance, you can always wrap yourself up in their wings. And there's many different angelic frequencies that I use as well. That's generally what I'll use in order to kill a virus, is a certain angelic frequency.
Yeah. So for people kind of confused, these are all just different frequencies that you can tap into. So it's not like you're calling an angel and you're like, asking the angel to protect you, but you're tapping into that energy, and then that's allowing you to work with, that frequency of protection. So there's another thing that you can do where you can imagine different astral limbs, and you can actually grow astral limbs. And you can, if you want astral wings, you can literally create wings. You can create all kinds of stuff, and you'll feel it. The more sensitive you are to energy, the more you'll actually feel that kind of stuff. It's really crazy when you get connected to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that part is really cool. You can also imagine yourself inside of your favorite crystal or something like that, using crystal energy. And so if you like Abyssinian, if you are like amethyst, you can always just almost like cover your body in it. Not literally, but just imagine that crystalline energies over your being. But,
definitely.
I always found it very important to do, especially if you're in the beginning, to do extra protection over specifically the energy centers. Because I'll have people come to me and they'll be like, I was doing meditation, but now I can't digest anything. And I'll look at them and I'll be like, their third chakra is like ripped in half. And then I'll go, okay, I have to go back and figure out what happened. And so I look at it, and the person, even though they're having this beautiful heart-to-heart connection and they're breathing together and they're working together, I'm like, there's something in a lot of people's subconscious that when they're doing that, they try to connect to you. And I was like, this person tried to like plug into that person's third chakra in their solar plexus and just literally cut it in half. And I was just like, okay, so, and that's a whole other, had to teach that person. I was like, specifically in general, when you're opening up with people, you still need to be wrapped up. You can open up, but you have to be covered. Yeah. And, there are even certain essential oils that are good for that for people who aren't ready for that. Cedar and sandalwood mixed are very great to put on the energy centers and create a level of protection if people get too nervous, because I've had people who do.
Yeah. And so, those are all really powerful techniques. the level of protection that I use is basically just monitoring my thoughts, which, it's such a basic level of protection. It's like, well, if you just monitor your thoughts and your emotions, then you pretty much negate all of that stuff. And I used to at one point build shields and stuff, but I almost felt like, I was like, what am I shielding myself from, really? Like, am I afraid? Do I need to protect myself? I'm not in a position where I need to protect myself.
No.
And the key, like what I found, is just super mindfulness. So if you do a lot of mindfulness, you can make sure, your energy's not getting drained, or these are all just different techniques. Everyone has their own technique. So it's unique to hear your perspectives and your different techniques that you use. I really think that that's so cool. What do you think about the dragon energies? Because I know my friend Ken has talked about those a lot, off camera and personally.
The dragons? Oh, shit.
Yeah, like the dragon energies, the draconian energies.
I like using dragons. I like using dragons a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Wait, hold on, I'm glitching.
Okay.
Say that again?
Yeah, we were just talking about the dragon energies, so I think... Oh no, she's definitely glitching. He's definitely glitching out his stuff, like, totally.
Oop. Okay.
All right. Definitely happens. 10 out of 10 expected that to happen at least once. So
yeah,
we're probably going to go on break on TFR. Yeah, well, you're back now, so it's okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And you were talking about dragon energy, or
yeah.
Yeah, certain dragon energies I like. There's a dragon energy called the Omni Cosmic Dragon, and that one's really great for clearing and for many other things, but just depends. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just look at my guides and I'll be just like, you do it. I have other shit to do, you do it.
That's a good point. That is like, definitely a good point.
I'm like, why you have support? Use it. What are you doing?
And so, for people that are confused, you can actually literally use different programs or, your guides, your ancestors, whatever you want to call them, to do certain things within the matrix, within the astrals. And you can talk to them, speak with them, and they'll assist you. And, these are relationships that you build, just like friendships. So it's very powerful.
Yeah, very much. Some of them don't even show themselves until you start talking first. And then once you start talking and start talking and start talking, you'll start seeing the signs either visually, energetically, or you'll start seeing it around you. You'll start seeing a book. You'll be like looking for an answer and a book will fall off the shelf and it'll open right to the answer that you need, or, something like that. But it's just more talking with the intention to connect.
Yeah. There's this really powerful, that reminds me of what you're talking about, because my guides or my ancestors, whatever you want to call it, I usually call them my ancestors because that's what they feel like to me, more like, the friends on the other side. I've been, I'm a coach, so I'm a life coach, and I've been really working on sharpening my skills and becoming better, and, doing all these trainings and watching all these videos and doing all these courses. And so they kept showing me this one dude's course over and over and over again. I literally woke up from a dream. I look at my phone, and it's the first thing that pops up, become an exponential coach. So I was like, okay, I need to invest in this coach, like this thing, like that's the universe, like saying, like, buy this. So I bought it, and I was like, okay, I'm ready for this. And I haven't done the training yet because I bought it last night, but it just felt like the right move.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I was I was like, okay, so what do I need right now? And they're like, MMM. I'm like, MMM what? Like, be more specific. And they're like, Amanda. And I'm like, okay. So I, go on the Instagram. I'm like, okay. So I go on to Instagram after getting the message, Instagram, Amanda, MMM. And I found this person on there called Amanda Francis. And she's like a money specialist, like a person who re-engineers people to learn money. And they're like, there's like
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured truthfrequencyradio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality. Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign-up. Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Once in a decade, a true story comes along that remembers the future. After 6 Amazon bestsellers, I have completed the epic Birth Trilogy, a true story of Earth. By reading the Birth Trilogy, you will journey with the characters from the origin of Earth to its final destiny in a white-knuckle ride that combines the intrigue of Tom Clancy with the epic scope of Prometheus and Interstellar. You will learn more about the purpose of life, the mystery of death, and the true nature of your soul than you thought possible. The Birth Trilogy is now available on Amazon and Kindle. The audio version is a free bonus when you buy the paperback, so even if you're not a great reader, don't worry about it. I read it for you. Use the Amazon app today and buy the Birth Trilogy, spelled B-E-A-R-T-H, or search for my name. I'm Brooks Agnew.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail. Truth Frequency Radio.
Very, very angelically connected, very powerful in that aspect. Anything she writes down or prays for, she gets. Everything, down to the T. Very, very, very good at shifting reality. But she used to model with Cindy Crawford back in the day and then created her own business. But yeah.
So would you say that there's a lot of like Hollywood people that are really connected into this energy kind of stuff? Or is it
not authentically?
Not authentically, meaning they're using middlemen.
Meaning they're using middlemen, or they pay people like me to do it, or yeah. I have a friend of mine. Are we live?
We're still live, yes.
Okay. I have a friend of mine his name is Valentin, and he's a 93-year-old former Russian general who lives here in Hollywood, and he's also a very, very powerful psychic and very great with psychic surgery. I've learned from him too.
Surgery.
He's very, very talented, and he's he worked with many different names in Hollywood already, and they come to him because one person can't stop eating girls out, so he keeps getting this issue with his throat, and he keeps going back.
What did you say?
I said, okay, good. So he's a very
I'm like,
actor.
did I actually hear that right?
Yes, you did. He's a very famous actor, a very, very famous actor, married presently to somebody who was in one of the first Zorro films. I'll just say that. And he keeps eating people out, which keeps fucking with his throat. And then he keeps going back there went there to get it healed.
That is the strangest thing I've ever heard. Like, I've never heard of that.
So they go to the middlemen. They go to people like me. Well, you'll look him up. He had many different issues with his throat area. I think he had a cancer there and other things. And his wife was a female in a Zorro film.
Okay.
Catherine,
I have no idea who you're talking about because I don't actually know who this is.
Okay, well, anyone who knows the first Zorro film, Catherine Zeta-Jones, he's married to her.
I've never seen it.
Look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up for sure.
Look it up. But so he keeps coming. So I learned from him, basically.
Someone says Michael Douglas.
Yeah, correct. There you go.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yep. So, but they go to the people like myself, for instance, if they're aware enough that these people exist. Not all of them are. Some of them literally, you'll look at it and some of them are very literally, they don't want to know. They just want to do their work. Mm-hmm. They're like, I'm a singer. I want to sing. I'm an actor. I want to act. I'm a performer. I want to perform. Just somebody take care of the rest. And
isn't that crazy that they actually believe, like, they're probably paying you thousands of dollars to do that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, I don't know anything about this psychic stuff or this energy stuff, but I'll pay this person like 10 grand or 5 grand to fix me in something that I have no idea about. Like, that's an easy way to get conned.
They totally will do that. But I look at, sorry, my phone's, for some reason, my battery started draining, so I had to plug it in, and I can't hear you as well. But,
no worries. Okay.
Give me about 1 minute. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's, to everyone that's watching, that's really strange. I've never heard something like that in my life before. I think Hollywood is a really weird place with a lot of weird people that are just totally
okay, there we go.
Yeah, I was just saying to the viewers, like, that's just crazy. I've never heard of
it's a lot. It's a lot, but I look at it and I go, it makes sense. I look at people who I do respect just as an artist. Like, I go, okay, Justin Bieber, Demi Lovato, Ariana Grande. I enjoy their music. I respect the fact that they work hard to create. But then you look at it and you go, these people are actually empaths. And when you're not tuned into a certain energy field, when you're an empath, especially in that industry, it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
To just do things like that. And then I look at it and this could lead me into a whole wild goose chase. But I look at it and I go, okay, so, these people, they were, at one point very wounded. That's very publicly known. At one point, very vulnerable. But also, and you look at who came along, their manager, Scooter Braun, and I'm just watching the energy of everything.
Yeah.
Right, my phone's doing it again. But I'm watching the energy of everything, and I go, okay, so Scooter Braun is either a narcissist or a sociopath. And who does, Psychology 101 will tell you who a wounded empath brings in. And then it kind of started confirming because I watched who Scooter Braun got a $300 million, somehow, I think he got a loan from somebody with a last name of Soros.
Mm-hmm.
And used that to buy, George Soros, used that to buy Taylor Swift stuff. So there is some nasty stuff going on in there if you're not aware. And if they were aware, they wouldn't have jumped onto that. Does that make sense?
So do you see a lot of like, do you feel a lot of like demonic energy around in the Hollywood? And I hate to use the word demonic because it's so stupid and it implies so much stuff.
It is stupid. I feel
it is stupid.
It is stupid. I mean, not that I've seen things, they exist, but it's not the point. It's the point is I've seen very manipulative, very
negative,
sacrificial.
basically.
Yeah, very sacrificial, manipulative energies. They exist. They exist in any big industry.
Mm-hmm.
But any industry that can bring in trillions of dollars, both good and bad, are going to exist in. But the whole point was certain people, certain artists, if they're not aware, they will start lacking. They will start lacking that discernment to make those decisions, and then they'll start trusting the wrong people. But you do see that happen a lot.
Yeah. And I was hoping that Zen was going to join us. I don't know. He's still in the recording studio, but, he is actually, I had this talk with him last night. He's surrounding himself with a lot of people that are in this music industry, and, they're not always the most high vibrational people. And he was telling me, like, my vibration always drops anytime I hang around these people. I'm like, well, duh, that's what their job is. Yes, they're promoting your music, but they're also gonna steal your energy if you're not careful. And they're like, moths drawn to a light. But I'm not saying that the whole industry is bad. I'm just saying that you, as an energy practitioner, as a spirit, as a high conscious being, you have to be so careful with what you do. And it's so good to hear that you're guarded and that you're protected with your energy, and that I'm wondering, do you actually close your Merkaba, your aura field off, and you like shut it down? Because that's something that I do when I go in public, and I'm not in some sort of industry. But is that something that you kind of focus on?
I don't really focus on it. I walk in wrapped up, not ready to be sucked, but that's part of the engineering reality is I take people's energy, and when they're trying to shift, when they're trying to take it from me, I reroute them basically. So it's not something I pay too much attention to. I just go in knowing that I have a job that they're going to want me to do. And I know that involves my energy being put into a lot of it. So I don't look at it as it's being stolen first and foremost, because I don't let it seep out. But I'm generally redirecting a new... Sometimes what I'll do is I'll redirect a new energy source in order to, fill that instead of actually give them mine.
That's a good point. Yeah, give them a distraction. And, these people... for the most part, they don't like, if you're an actual practitioner, like, like Corey is, like I am, they're so outmatched. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not going to be.
It's actually kind of pathetic.
It's pathetic, right? I've said that so many times on my channel. I'm like, it's pathetic when you like meet like an occultist and they're going to do like a ritual on you. It's like, dude, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And I realize,
it's really funny because then you all of a sudden you like feel somebody like poke. It's like a 2-year-old poking at you.
Exactly.
It's funny, and you're just like, go away, get out of here.
Exactly. I'm glad you agree with me, because some people are like, this magic stuff is so powerful. You don't know. You're just like sticking with moving the wind and stuff. Like, oh, you're just moving objects, dude. You don't get it. Like, no. That's like
it's very silly, because I've had somebody try to do something a long time ago, and I'm telling you, their life went to shit afterwards. I'm just like, because that's what I do. I work with the beings that operate the karmic system of this planet. I'm like, what happens if I go, hey, look what happened over there. I'm bringing this up to cosmic law, cosmic court, deal with this.
Yeah.
And I already have favor. You're fucked.
Do you want to name drop what you would call those beings? Because I have my own names for them. Do you have specific names for them, or do you just like call them beings? Because I feel like we're probably talking about the same beings.
Say it again.
Ones that are really
Well, it's interesting because there's a group of beings called the Lords of Karma. They're basically the deities, if you will, or the beings, if you will, that operate that construct of reality. So there's certain, you know, how we have the nature constructs, we have the law of cause and effect. So they're the same beings that operate the law of cause and effect. If this happens, they calculate what happens after, and then they implement it. So I go and I have a work with them. So for instance, if somebody wanted to do harm to me, I would put that to their, I would put it, I'd visit them astrally, and then I give it to them, and they generally take care of that. I've seen people's lives fall apart because they do something fucked up to somebody who's powerful. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and to everyone watching, it's not, we're not saying like, oh, look at us, we're so powerful. No. It's more like, you know, if you have a lot of good karma and you're a good person and you have a high vibration, like you can be a good person and have a low vibration. So let's get that clear first. But if you're a good person and you have a high vibration and you're divinely connected, if someone like messes with you, they always tend to like
here. And if somebody's trying to interrupt that, it's actually not good for the system of the planet.
Exactly. And you know, your quote unquote spirit guides, or you know, your ancestors or the beings that watch over you, they will really make sure that person's taken care of. And I've watched people that have tried to like mess with my life. They will end up like getting all these repercussions in their life, and I didn't even do a single thing. Like I just left them alone, or I would just distance myself from them, and I'll just watch their life literally just deconstruct. There's one person in particular, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. That specific girl, her life would just constantly go downward. In a series of different events, anytime she would do something negative or do something, that was messing with my particular energy or my karma. So it's crazy to see that happen. And, it's like, don't try to attack someone that is on their path, because it never ends up well for the other person.
Well, and it's when your goal is to do something that is opposite of, good for all, then, naturally there are repercussions for that, is basically what we're saying. And it's just, that's basically it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, what do you see yourself doing in the future with, your practices and your connection?
I guess I want to continue expanding it. Obviously, I get very thirsty for that, but I have a few things that I don't feel like I'm supposed to share quite yet because they're not ironed out. But I do want to at some point have a expansion on a much larger scale. Let's just put it that way. I do want to take my practice at some point, hopefully on tour. I would like to do that.
Amazing.
That would be really nice. I really enjoy doing that.
You could be like the actor that heals people.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Anytime I work on a film, what I do is I am transmitting different frequencies. So I will look and I'll go, okay, what does this audience need from me right now? For instance, what is the people viewing this? What do they need? It'll be like, okay, they need subconscious repair. So I will channel through a subconscious clearing frequency. And anytime you clear the subconscious, you also need to replace it with highest divine positive opposite. So you take out the negative, replace with the highest divine positive opposite. So I'll start transmitting that frequency that, does that entire process. Or I'll go, okay, what do these people need? They need a virus clearing. Okay, what viruses? Give me the list. And then once I get the list, I'll start transmitting those. So, or whatever's needed. So it's as I'm on screen, I am emitting certain things consciously and having my field just do it as I'm in the moment.
Yeah, that's something I've found is that, the flow state, it's like you're not even doing anything. Like, it's like we're doing stuff, but automatically. So all the right things will be said, all the right frequencies will be emitted, and you only have to tap into the flow state. You only have to connect. And it's super powerful to just let the flow state go through you. So as an actor, you tap into so many different energies, and you're tapping into so many different frequencies. So what about your roles? What kind of roles are you doing? Are you doing like highly positive characters, or are they negative characters?
I've done both. I just recently, like my latest audition was, they just started auditioning again. So my latest audition was actually a voiceover role, and that one was for, if anyone has seen The Exorcist, where the girl was tied and strapped to the bed, and she was this like 13-year-old girl sending out like a demonic voice. I've had to do that voice for they had a voiceover audition. I know, it was creepy. It was so good. I actually stopped listening to it. It was really weird.
So where did that energy come from? Did you channel that through the ether?
For me, instead of channeling it, I decided to listen to the movie, and so I was able to, instead of embody it or bring it into my body, almost have it just outside my field in order to use.
So smart.
I'm not letting that in my physiology. I don't think so. No fucking way.
That is so intelligent. Because I was gonna ask you, like, did you think of just like, tapping into it just enough so you could get it and then kind of like bounce it out, kind of like a redirect, like you were talking about earlier, where you take the frequency and you just redirect it back out, instead of like, a lot of actors, they'll like embody that character, like Heath Ledger. They embody all of the negative energy.
They don't need to do that.
Yeah, they don't.
You don't. And I'm just like, that's how chaos and life destruction happens. It's like, no.
Exactly.
But so that was one other one. That was a good one. And then another one that I just did was, what was it? I had an audition for, it was just recently, it was for a CNN, it was for a CNN show where it was supposed to follow a transgender, someone who is in the army who goes from male to female, but it's filming the entire process. And that was really, really interesting. And I very emotional, because that person also had a son, so you have to factor in all of the different emotions. So instead of just emitting a frequency, you actually have to do the emotional chemical shift too, and then balance yourself out. Or you can do the same thing that I did with the voice and just keep it right here. Or with the emotional chemicals that are made in the brain, you can just keep them around and outside the area.
Yeah. So that's really cool stuff. I mean,
it's cool because
there's so much creativity.
Go ahead. Like it teaches you how to like master your own chemistry. Like when you're doing this and you're moving from character to character to character, you start to, especially if you're energetically in tuned, you start to master your own chemistry, and you start to go, oh my, like it'll be interesting. It'll be like certain roles I will naturally get like 15 pounds skinnier for in under a week, just because my body needs to be there to do it. But it'll be, you start to master the chemicals in your body when you shift like that.
That's really, really intense. That's just really, really intense. So, what about, like your ego? Like, okay, so if you're playing all these different characters, do you ever feel like you lose like what Corey is or what yourself is, and not remember who you truly are?
No, not in a million years. That's so ingrained into me. my mom, being as sensitive as I am and doing the work that I do as well, she that was just taught. It's like I was 6 years old at a restaurant table, taught to center myself and read people. It's like, so, it's coming back to center is just a natural part of living, really.
Mm-hmm. We should talk about celibacy, because a lot of people, they still comment on the videos that I've made on celibacy and semen retention and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I know you do. So that's why I wanted to share. I wanted to hear your thoughts and share and, just speak on that. So what do you think about it? Do you think it's like worth pursuing? And I obviously know your thoughts on it, but, you should feel free to share with everyone that's listening and viewing right now.
I'd happily
And what's
share.
the point? Why should you be celibate or, save your sexual energy?
Well, I think for me, it was very interesting. I can't tell you that I was always, I definitely wasn't always celibate. I was probably a whore. But it was, I explored everything. I really did, and I didn't hold back on
Wow, when you say it like that, that really makes me
If you're going
cringe.
to explore. If you're going to explore. But celibacy, I've been celibate for like 9 years now. And that has been probably one of the most enriching experiences of my life. The amount of purity that comes with your body being your body. Most people don't know how to touch you without trying to become a part of you. And it's a sensory overload at first when you go celibate. First you start to go, oh my God, I want to touch something. I want to touch somebody. What do I do? And then you start, after you bypass that phase, you start coming to this sense of almost oneness with yourself and with your body and with who you are. And it's something that made me realize it's like people don't know who they are. People don't know if they're straight. People don't know if they're gay. People don't know if they're bi. People don't know if they're trans because they've never had their body to themselves. They've never had it. Most people lose their virginity at 13 to 16 years old, and they have no clue who they actually are, and they think they do, which is the biggest problem. And I go, if you really want to know, you have who you identify with physically, what you identify with, then you have physically what you're attracted to, then you have psychologically what you identify with, and then as a higher being what you identify with, and they can change every single day. And if you're not spending a good amount of time watching how that changes or fluctuates, or if it does, separate of the physical input of others, how do you even know? You don't. You have no fucking clue at that point, but you like to think you do because you like sex.
Yeah, that's true. We have a sex addiction in this country and in this world, in fact, because everyone's so caught up in their lower chakras. But I think that celibacy is something that is good for everyone to do for a certain amount of time, so that way they can really get in touch with who they are and heal. The nervous system takes a lot of hits when you constantly release your sexual energy.
It does.
So, but as an energy practitioner, you can really
you can replenish that.
Yeah, it's unreal. I don't, you have so much energy. It's almost I don't want to give people ideas, but it's just so much energy that it's uncalculable.
It's a non-issue.
Yeah, it's a non-issue. That's a good way of putting it.
But I think,
a normal person that doesn't practice with energy, they'll release that energy. They'll be like, I'm dead. I'm totally out of energy. And an energy practitioner is just like, oh, I'm just gonna go, crank up all of the electricity. And of course, it depends on your skill.
Thanks for tuning
so
into
a beginner probably doesn't know what to do, but someone that's been training for a couple of years or multiple years.
Social media, Instagram, The Matrix Unveiled, Facebook, The Matrix Unveiled, and YouTube, The Matrix Unveiled.
No, I agree with you.
See you guys next week.
I also like to point out that it's also for people who don't know their identity, or don't think they know their identity, that's when it becomes very important.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number one source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Accepts it. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump reacting to today's ruling by the Supreme Court that backs workers' rights for members of the LGBTQ community under the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
I read the decision, and some people were surprised, but they've ruled, and we live with their decision. That's what it's all about. We live with the decision of the Supreme Court. Very powerful. A very powerful decision.
Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden issuing a statement reading apart today's Supreme Court decision is a momentous step forward for our community. It affirms that LGBTQ Americans are entitled to equal rights under the law. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms taking administrative action that would limit the use of force by police after a black man was shot to death Friday night after a scuffle with police in a fast food drive-thru.
It's very clear that our police officers are to be guardians and not warriors within our communities.
She says police should only use what she called reasonable force to protect themselves or others to bring the incident under control. The FBI and other federal agencies monitoring the investigation of the hanging deaths of two black men in California. 25-year-old Robert Fuller was found last week in Palmdale. Initially, the coroner ruled his death a suicide.
The LA County Sheriff's Department, our homicide bureau, is considered one of the premier investigative homicide bureaus in the entire nation, and they set the standard nationwide for how to conduct these investigations fairly, impartially, and their nickname are the Bulldogs. They're going to stick to it till they get to the truth of what happened.
LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva, 38-year-old Malcolm Harsh was found hanging May 31st from a tree in Victorville. The Seattle City Council has voted unanimously to bar police from using tear gas, pepper spray, and other crowd control devices. America is listening to Fox News.
The last few months have taught us
now tuned into the Truth Frequency.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworks because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworks with Josh, Walt, and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cozy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworks with Josh, Walt, and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworks on
TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Raw Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to Space Letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworks with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworks and become an Iron Scout.
Good morning, TFR.
Good morning.
It's Friday, my dudes.
It is Friday, my dudes. TGIF. Welcome to the Ironworks right here on Truth Frequency Radio. My name is Josh Corey, and I am joined this morning by two of my very good friends and co-hosts. Well, actually, we have several people joining us, but let's start off with my good friends and co-hosts, starting with Mr. Walter Johnson, back in the home studio there in Louisiana. Walt, how are you doing, sir?
Hello, Josh. Hello, Zach. Hello, TFR. It is good to be home, without a doubt. I was actually home on Tuesday, but between the crazy early flight and the trip and just all the trying to get back into the swing of things and, the whole lag, etc., just did not make it for Tuesday. But certainly excited for this morning's show. Glad to be here. Glad that you guys have joined us for sure. So I'll shut up and let you say hey to Zach.
All righty. Well, Zach, I know, is feeling a little bit under the weather. He was sleeping in a bit this morning. So, Zach, aside from feeling a little bit ill, how are you doing?
Not too bad, Josh. How we doing? Hey, Walt. Hey, everybody out there in TFR land. It's been an interesting couple of days. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I had trouble falling to sleep. My stomach was turning and a lot of excitement, getting ready to move. Yeah, they're hoping next week it sells.
Wow.
Yeah, they're real. But it's been an interesting couple of days. I was welding and putting stuff back together after that windstorm, and I went to go turn my welder on and didn't work. So I took the welder apart, of course. That's what I do. And started tinkering and playing and started messing around with the power switch, and it like jolted on for a second. So I was like, okay, maybe it's a switch. So I took the switch out and I thought, hey, I'll test the switch. I went and asked Bob how to test it. Thought I comprehended what he said. Thought I had a bad switch. Went and got a new switch. Tested that switch before I put it in, and I got the same exact reading. Put the switch in, and the switch worked. So, yeah, I'll take it. I didn't learn anything, but it was a $8 fix for my welder. Got the job done. Yeah.
Well, whatever works.
Yeah, I'll take it. I didn't really learn a whole lot, but the welder works again.
Well, good. My week has been quiet and uneventful. Nothing new to report, per se. Still trying to not destroy a relationship with my mother now that she's living with us. So, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But we have some excellent guests joining us this morning, because this time slot for us, because it's 4 a.m., 3 a.m. for us here, depending on exactly which time zone we're in. So it's kind of hard to get guests. So we were absolutely thrilled when John Savage managed to finagle these guests that we have joining us this morning. So let's just jump right in and say hello to Dawn Lester and David Parker, authors of What Really Makes You Ill. David and Dawn, thank you so much for joining us here on the Ironworks and Truth Frequency Radio, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and it's really a pleasure to be with you guys. And so I think we're going to be in for a very interesting conversation.
I think so, too. I'm really looking forward to it. So I doubt there's very many people listening that have not heard of your work. But just in case, just for those who are new to any of this, Why don't you just let everybody know a little bit about what your book is about?
Yeah, sure. That's not a problem. The title, as you already gave out part of it, it's called What Really Makes You Ill, Why Everything You Thought You Knew About Disease is Wrong. So quite a challenging title. The book took us about 10 years to put together, the research, because it's almost 800 pages. With 40 pages of references and citations from the scientific work that we drew our research from. So quite a long project, really. But really, it sort of blows a hole in the whole medical system, the allopathic system that we've all been familiar with for all our lives, I guess. That's not what we set out to do. We just from certain things that had happened in our personal lives, with our interactions with the medical establishment, official medical establishment, things that became increasingly dissatisfied with, particularly with friends and relatives that died as a result of cancers. So there was various wake-up calls, but Dawn and I have known one another for many years, and we'd already written a couple of little books under a pen name, NOR, one of which was about the nature of reality, so a very different subject. And it was whilst we were writing that there was one of the chapters in it was about viruses. Now, up until that point, we thought the same that everyone else thought about viruses, these tiny microorganisms that basically cause all sorts of diseases, if we believe the medical establishment. So we had to do some research on them for this particular book on the nature of reality.